All right, we give praise, esteem, and honor to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. Do not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come out of his name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? All esteem and praise of Abba and Shamayim. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, let's get this Ecclesiastes 3 and 11. He have made every beautiful in his time, and also have set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that Elohim make from the beginning to the end. I know that no good in them, but for to rejoice and to do good in his life. Slow, man. And that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all his labor, it the gift of Elohim. I know that whatsoever Elohim do, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. Elohim do that men should fear before him. That which have been is now, that which is to be have already been, and Elohim requires that which is past. Revelation chapter 1, man, verse 5, or verse 8, excuse me. You can read verse 5, man.
And from Yahushua HaMashiach, the faithful witness, the first begotten of the dead, and the prince of the kings of the earth, unto him that loved us and washed us from our sins in his own blood, and have made us kings and priests unto Elohim and his Abba, to him esteem and dominion forever and ever. Behold, he come with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they which pierce him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, I am the Aleph and the Toph, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, which is, and which was, and which is to come, the Almighty.
Revelation 17 and 8. Girl, cut it out.
The beast that you saw was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is.
Shalom, Brother Margaret. Lift. Who was the two juxtaposition that we looked at last night? Jacob and Esau. So now we have a different juxtaposition. And now we finally can get over here to good old Absalom. Let's come over here to 2 Samuel chapter 15. Second Samuel 15, and you know what? Make it 2 Samuel 14. Matter of fact, let's just start as much as possible that we can do with Absalom. Let's start at 2 Samuel chapter 13, and you can pick it up at verse 1.
And it came to pass after this that Absalom, the son of David, had a fair sister whose name Tamar, and Amnon, the son of David, loved her. And Amnon was so vexed that he fell sick for his sister Tamar, for she a virgin. And Amnon thought it hard for him to do anything to her.
But Ammon
had a friend whose name Jonadab, the son of Shimeah, David's brother. And Jonadab, a very subtle man.
He said unto him,
why you, the king's son, lean from day to day?
Will you not tell me?
And Amnon said unto him, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister.
What he told?
Jonadab said unto him, lay you down on your bed, make yourself sick. And when your father comes to see you, say unto him, I pray you, let my sister Tamar come and give me meat and dress the meat in my sight that I may see and eat at her hand.
Verse 8.
So Tamar went to her brother Amnon's house, and he was laid down, and she took flour and kneaded and made cakes in his sight and did bake the cakes. And she took a pan and poured out before him, but he refused to eat. And Amnon said, have out all men from me. And they went out every man from him. And Amnon said unto Tamar, bring the meat into the chamber that I may eat of your hand. And Tamar took the cakes which she had made and brought into the chamber to Amnon, her brother. When she had brought unto him to eat, he took hold of her and said unto her, come lie with me, my sister. And she answered him, nay, my brother, do not force me, for no such thing ought to be done in Yasharal. Do not you this folly.
Pause. Get Leviticus 20 and 17.
And if a man shall take his sister, his father's daughter, or his mother's daughter, and see her nakedness, and she see his nakedness, it a wicked thing.
It's a what?
A wicked thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they shall be cut off in the sight of their people. He
Shalom,
have uncovered his sister's nakedness, he shall bear his iniquity.
Oh man, that's where you had a lot of people think, you know, that what his name is, that Ham had sex with Noah, but it would really mean he defiled his father's bed. See, we'll look at that because I told you eventually we're gonna slide and look at these concubines because that's who what his name is. That's who Reuben had sex with. He had sex with one of his father's concubines. He didn't have sex with his actual birth mother. You know what I'm talking about? See, hold on, what that is? 1 Corinthians chapter 6. First Corinthians 6:1, I believe.
Dare any of you having a matter go against another, go to law before the unjust and not before the saints?
Amen.
Do you not know that the saints shall judge the world, and if the world shall be judged by you, are you unworthy to judge the smallest matters? Know you not that we shall judge Malachim? How much more things that pertain to this life?
My bad, it's chapter 5. Chapter 5. 5:1.
It is reported commonly fornication among you, and such fornication as is not so much as named among the Gentiles.
That one should do what?
Have his father's wife.
That he should do what?
Have his father's wife.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
And you are puffed up and have not rather mourned that he that have done this deed might be taken away from among you. For truly, as absent in the body but present in Ruach, have judged already, as though I were present, him that have so done this deed. In the name of our Lord Yahushua Mashiach, when you are gathered together in my Ruach, with the power of our Master Yahushua Mashiach.
That's good. Go to Deuteronomy 22:30.
Says a man shall not take his father's wife, nor discover his father's skirt.
Don't do it. Go to Leviticus 18:8, and then we'll come to Genesis. Since I referenced it, that's why.
The nakedness of your father's wife shall you not uncover. It is your father's nakedness.
It's your whose nakedness?
Your father's nakedness.
It's whose nakedness?
Your father's nakedness.
Come over here to Genesis what? Chapter 9 and 18.
And the sons of Noah that went forth of the ark were Shem and Ham and Japheth, and Ham is the father of Canaan. These are the three sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread. And Noah began a husbandman, and he planted a vineyard, and he drank of the wine and was drunken, and he was uncovered within his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father.
Saw what?
Saw the nakedness of his father.
Give him uncovered in verse 21, and then nakedness.
That's to uncover, to remove.
To remove. Go ahead. Give him nakedness.
That's urva. That's nakedness, nudity, shame.
Nudity or shame. Oh, yours I'm doing. Oh, you ain't got that. Go ahead, verse 22.
And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brethren without.
And Shem
and Japheth took a garment and laid upon both their shoulders and went backward and covered the nakedness of their father and their faces backward, and they saw not their father's nakedness. And Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his younger son had done unto him.
Oh, now you got two different ways you can look at this. What would that be?
Either he slept with his wife or he did something to his father.
No, he didn't do nothing to his father. Either slept with his wife or he seen his daddy butt ball naked. You know what I'm talking about? See, that's the other aspect, because I know some people like do that because you're not supposed to walk in front of your children naked. You know what I'm saying? I just seen a clip where a dude, but this wasn't his child. The little girl was like, well, she wasn't a little girl. I think she was a teen, maybe grown. But she was asking her daddy because she stayed at his house. And he was like, why? Because she was like, my mama's boyfriend walk around the house in his drawers. You know what I'm talking about? And he was like, yeah. But see, it's certain stuff, even if that is your child, you ain't supposed to walk around your child in your underwear. You know what I'm talking about? I wouldn't care how old they was. That's just something you ain't supposed to do. You got some that won't even walk around with no shirt on in front of their children. You know what I'm talking about? But you definitely got to have your loins covered. You know what I'm talking about? That don't even make no sense, especially if you got little girls in the house. You know what I'm saying? I don't even understand that. But in reverse, with a woman, you got some women who walk around their sons and they bra and panties with no problem. And I don't see no big deal about that. You ain't supposed to do that around him neither. He don't need to be that close and intimate with your loins and your mammary glands in that fashion. You know what I'm talking about? That just lead to a whole. Yeah, I know a lot. I had to tell a girl that years ago. You know what I'm saying? That I grew up with. Like, man, stop walking around your son in your drawers, man. Why is you getting dressed with your son in the room? You know what I'm saying? You getting ready to go do something. He just running around. You putting your clothes. You ain't thinking nothing of it. But that's not a situation he's supposed to be a part of. He ain't supposed to know you like that. You supposed to sit him out of the room. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up now. So in this instance, you can look at uncovering their father's naked as they see him butt ball naked, or he touched his wife. Because you notice it say uncover your father's nakedness. So when you talk about in the text uncovering your father's nakedness, you know that's going up on your father's bed and defiling his couch. Where's that at in Genesis? I think it's 29. Yeah, 29 of that is ours. No, that ain't it. I can't recall off the top of my head. Hold on. Well, we read it last night anyway. Just read 1 Chronicles 5:1 again. The story will come to my mind eventually.
Now the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Yasharal, for he the firstborn, but for as much as he defiled his father's bed.
He did what?
Defiled his father's bed.
How you do that?
His birthright was given unto the sons of Joseph, the sons of Yasharal, and the genealogy is not to be reckoned after the birthright.
That's right. Let me see if that's what. If I had it in my mind right the first time. No, we don't want that. So let's come back to 2 Samuel 13. What verse you stopped at? 13. Come on with it.
And where shall I cause my shame to go? And as for you, you shall be as one of the fools in Yasharal.
He said, boy, the girl told him, boy, if you lay with me, boy, you're going to be a fool.
Now, therefore, I pray you, speak unto the king, for he will not withhold me from you. Howbeit, he would not hearken unto her voice, but being stronger than she, forced her and lay with her.
So what did he just do?
Rape.
He sexually assaulted her. What does your law say should happen to him? He should be killed. So I'm mentioning this only because we talk about the revenger of blood. And since this matter is the same as shedding a man's blood, this is why Absalom come through later and kill this man. You know what I'm talking about? Which we gonna see. Come on with it.
Then Amnon hated her exceedingly, so that the hatred wherewith he hated her greater than the love wherewith he had loved her.
Brother Shaul. Ain't that something?
And Amnon said unto her, Arise, be gone. And she said unto him, No cause this evil in sending me away greater than the other that you did unto me. But he would not hearken unto her.
That boy made it worse. That boy say, boy, after he got his pleasure, he said, you know what? I don't even like you like that. Depart from me. That's what it said. That's what he did. You know what I'm talking about? Go ahead. Which lets you know that was just driven purely by lust.
Then he called his servant that ministered unto him and said, Put now this out for me, and bolt the door after her. And a garment of diverse colors upon her.
Door.
For with such robes were the king's daughter, virgins apparelled. Then his servant brought her out and bolted the door after her.
Notice what he said, give her a garment of what?
Diverse colors.
Tell him what colors is, man. He said he rose for the king's daughter.
That's of a tunic that is of many colors, diverse colors.
Got a night tunic, like Joseph's coat of many colors, or linen tunic. That's for the virgin daughters. You know what I'm talking about? Take you back to Revelation. But that boy, that dirty right there, boy. That boy said, give her a coat and send her on her way. Lock my door. Go ahead.
And Tamar put ashes on her head and rent her garment of diverse colors that was on her, laid her hand on her head and went on crying.
And Absalom,
her brother, said unto her, Have Amnon your brother been with you? Behold now, Yeshalom, my sister, he your brother, regard not this thing. So Tamar remained desolate in her brother Absalom's house.
Tell him what desolate means.
Charmaine, that's devastated, deserted, desolate, ruined.
She been ruined. That man took her virginity from her. She was ruined. Not only that, see, she was not only devastated from the physical act, but you done took my purity from me. You know what I'm talking about? Go ahead.
But when King David heard all these things, he was very wroth. And Absalom spake unto his brother Amnon neither good nor bad. For Absalom hated Amnon because he had forced his sister Tamar.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass after 2 full years that Absalom had sheep shears and Baal Hazor, which is beside Ephraim.
That boy waited 2 years to kill this nigga.
And Absalom invited all the king's sons. And Absalom came to the king and said, Behold, now your servant have sheep shears. Let the king, I beseech you, and his servants go with your servant.
Go ahead.
And the king said to Absalom, No, my son, let us not all go, lest we be chargeable unto you. And he pressed him. Howbeit he would not go, but berooked him. Then said Absalom, If not, I pray you, let my brother Amnon go with us. And the king said unto him, Why should he go with you? But Absalom pressed him that he let Amnon and all the king's sons go with him. Now Absalom had commanded his servants, saying, Mark you now, when Amnon's heart is merry with wine, and when I say unto you, smite Amnon, then kill him. Fear not, have I not commanded you, be courageous and be valiant.
That boy ain't even put hands on him himself. He sent somebody else to do it.
And the servants of Absalom did unto Amnon as Absalom had commanded. Then all the king's sons arose, and every man gat him up upon his mule and fled.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass while they were on the way, that tidings came to David, saying, Absalom hath slain all the king's sons, and there is not one of them left. Then the king arose and tore his garments and lay on the earth. And all his servants stood by with their clothes rent. And Jonadab, the son of Shemiah, David's brother, answered and said, Let not my lord suppose they have slain all the young men, the king's sons, for Amnon only is dead. For by the appointment of Absalom, this had been determined from the day that he forced his sister Tamar.
Indeed.
Now therefore let not the lord the king take the thing to his heart, to think that all the king's sons are dead, for Amnon only is dead.
Paul, see, we didn't mention that because he thought all of them were dead, but he didn't kill all his brothers, just the one he wanted. Come on to chapter 14, man. Now, we don't need that. That's a whole nother conversation. Let's get right into it. 2 Samuel 15:1.
And it came to pass after this that Absalom prepared him chariots and horses and 50 men to run before him. And Absalom rose up early and stood beside the way of the gate. And it was so that when any man had a controversy,
Had a what?
Controversy.
They came to who?
Came to the king for judgment.
Then Absalom
Called unto him and said, Of what city you? And he said, Your servant, one of the tribes of Yasharal.
And Absalom said unto him,
See, your matter is good and right, but no man of the king to hear you.
See, go ahead and tell him what good and right is, man.
Good is told, good, pleasant, agreeable. And right is Nakoach, that's straight, right, straightness to be in front of,
Go ahead.
uprightness.
Verse 4.
Absalom said, Moreover, oh, that I were made judge in the land, that every man
Oh, that he was made what?
judge in the land,
Made what?
judge in the land,
That every man which had what?
any suitor cause might come unto me, and I would do him justice.
Tell him suit cause. Justice is the doc.
Suit is reed, strife or controversy or dispute,
If anybody got any matters of dispute,
and then cause is mishpat.
judgment. Now let's look at something, right? Let's come over here to Daniel 8 one more time. Eight and 23.
And in the latter time of their malcouf, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding, dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper in practice, and shall destroy the mighty in the Kadash people. And through his policy also he shall cause.
Tell him what policy it is again.
Sekel, that's prudence, insight, understanding.
Understanding. That's what Absalom is asking to be able to do for the people by rendering them judgment. Back up to verse 24 and tell them what practice is again.
Assault, that's to do, fashion, to accomplish, to make.
So these are things that he's working on. He got insight. He got prudence. Go ahead.
And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify in his heart.
And by what?
Shalom shall destroy many.
So by what?
Shalom shall destroy many.
So this is what Absalom going to try to do. That through Shalom, he's going to try to destroy many. That's his objective. Let's come back over here to 2 Samuel, chapter 15. Now, what Absalom is doing, what would you define it as? Well, don't worry. We're about to read a verse to tell you, and we're going to look at some other gentlemen who fit along those lines. 2 Samuel 15 and what?
5.
2 Samuel 15:5.
And it was so that when any man came near to do him obeisance, he put forth his hand and took him and kissed him.
Y'all know what that is to do obeisance, right? Huh? That's the worship. That's the bow down. You see that go back to what we were talking about last night with Jacob and Esau with the birthright. That part of the birthright is for your mother's brethren to bow down to you. Absalom is seeking for the people to bow down to him as if he is the king himself. He's trying to usurp the authority of David. Continue.
And on this manner did Absalom to all Yasharal that came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Yasharal.
Notice that he said this what he did. What?
For judgment.
Came to the king for what?
For judgment.
So what Yahushua told to get, that's what the beast gonna do. How do we know this here? Let's go back to Daniel 11 and verse 27.
And both these hearts to do mischief, and they shall speak lies at one table, but it shall not prosper, for yet the end at the time appointed. Then shall he return to the land with great riches, and his heart against the Kadash covenant.
His heart against what?
The Kadash covenant.
Who Absalom's heart was against? It was against David. Now let's pause. Did David have a Kadash covenant with you? What was it?
He said what the throne never leave.
The what?
The throne never leave his under his name or something.
Get 2 Samuel 7 and 9.
And I was with you wheresoever you went, and have cut off all your enemies out of your sight, and have made you a great name, like unto the name of the great that are in the earth. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Yasharal, and I will plant them, that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more. Neither shall the sons of the wickedness afflict them any more as before time. And that since the time that I commanded judges over my people Yasharal, and have caused you to rest from all your enemies, also Yahuwah tell you that he will make you a house. And when your days be fulfilled, and you shall sleep with your fathers, I will set up your seed after you, which shall proceed out of your bowels, and I will establish his Malkuth. He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his Malkuth forever. I'll be his father, he shall be my son.
It'll be what?
Be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of the sons of men. But my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took from Saul, whom I put away before you. And your house and your Malkuth shall be established forever before you. Your throne shall be established forever.
People be talking about Solomon going to hell. And Yahuwah said himself, I ain't taking my mercy from him. I don't know what people be reading. Ain't that what he just said? He took his mercy from Saul, didn't he? Saul ain't get none. People look at the fact that, yeah, he chastised Solomon, but he didn't take his mercy from him. The man say he don't clear. Just because you get punished don't mean that his mercy is gone. But of course, y'all know he described the covenant of David as a what? A covenant of what? They don't know what it is. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, y'all don't know what it is. Somebody better figure it out. Or Michael gonna have to do push-up. Or is that Civic gonna have to do them? All right, go to 2 Chronicles 13, man. No, it's not mercy. Y'all thinking about Isaiah. That ain't it. 2 Chronicles 13 and 5.
Ought you not to know that Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal gave the Malkuth over Yasharal to David forever, to him and to his sons by a covenant of salt?
Now, a covenant of what?
Of salt.
What he told you salt was for? Yeah, for the sacrifice. And if the salt lost the savor, what good is it? Cast it underfoot. That means that salt he made with David is good over there. It's great A over there. He ain't got no problem. Let's come on back to 2 Samuel 15. 2 Samuel 15, where we at? Read verse 6 again.
And on this manner did Absalom to all Yasharal that came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Yasharal.
What the beast gonna do?
Steal the hearts of the people.
How he gonna steal them? By making intelligence with the people and having an understanding of dark sentences. So he that is, yet is not, yet is. Because that's where Absalom is right now. He is the king's son, but he's not the king, but yet he is the king. Because the people coming to him like he the king. Because he's trying to substitute himself for it. But see, David is in which was and is to come. He is the actual person that's supposed to be in that position. You know what I'm talking about? Continue.
And it came to pass after 40 years that Absalom said unto the king, I pray you,
That man did this for 40 years.
Let me go and pay my vow.
No, hold on. You understand this? This man did this for 40 years. Do you understand how old David had to be? Do you understand how old Absalom is to do this? If he did it for 40 years, that means Absalom is easily in his 50s and 60s. You know what I'm talking about? Which means David is easily in his 80s. You know what I'm talking about? Maybe even in his 70s. 40 years is a long time to plot and plan and scheme to take over. Go ahead.
And it came to pass after 40 years that Absalom said unto the king, I pray you, let me go and pay my vow, which I have vowed unto Yahuwah in Hebron. For your servant vowed a vow which I abode at Geshur in Syria, saying, if Yahuwah shall bring me again indeed to Jerusalem, then I will serve Yahuwah.
See, let me tell you something. That's the thing you got to look at the beast. It ain't going to be something overnight. That man going to be moving, plotting, planning, and scamming for a minute until it's time for him. Don't nothing happen before the time. Go ahead.
And the king said unto him, go in shalom. So he arose and went to Hebron. But Absalom sent spies throughout all the tribes of Yasharal, saying, as soon as you hear the sound of the trumpet, then you shall say, Absalom reigned in Hebron.
Look at what he did.
And with Absalom went 200 men out of Jerusalem, called, and they went in their simplicity, and they knew not anything.
Tell them what simplicity means.
That's tone, integrity,
That's the word
completeness.
For perfect, but it's also mean innocent. These men didn't know what they were doing. They had no idea. You know what I'm talking about? Notice what he said. They went in their simplicity. They knew not anything. They were innocent in what they was involved in. It's the same way when you look at what Pilate went along in his simplicity. He didn't really know what them people was trying to get him to do. You know what I'm talking about? He just doing his job. His job say if there's a malfactor, somebody trying to rebel and cause an insurrection, this is what's to be done. See, let me tell y'all something, man, because it ain't like what it is now, man. I done told you this before. In America, you get locked up, you go to jail, maybe you bond out, maybe you don't. And then you go through a pre-trial proceedings, you know what I'm talking about, and all of these things, and then you go to trial. And then they got to present evidence and call witnesses and all this type of stuff. But in the land of Yasharal, that's not how that went. All it took was 2 or 3 witnesses, boy, and you was out of here. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't had to be no evidence. Ain't have to be no cross-examining, no witnesses, nothing. 2 or 3 witnesses, man, and you done. You know why it was like that? Because you wasn't supposed to be bringing Shalom, but you wasn't supposed to be bringing no false witness. So that means it was supposed to be on the up and up if you were claiming that somebody had did something. You know what I'm talking about? You recall, this was just in my brain. What it say about if you get a woman, man, and you say she wasn't no maid, then they find out you lying. Now you done brought an evil name on this. See, back then, man, and when you was in the land, boy, your word is supposed to be everything. So what you said about somebody, boy, they took that as that's what it was. Because if that wasn't what it was, then why you said it? You know what I'm saying? See, now people be in their feelings. They say stuff because you're upset, because you're angry. But the type of stuff you say can bring a bad reputation on the man that can ruin his life or get him killed. So that's why your law say what you thought to do unto him, let it be done unto you if you were lying. That's why the word say don't speak no evil of your brother, lest you be a judge and all this other type of stuff for you to learn to govern your mouth. It say the same thing in Proverbs, does it not? And you ain't got nothing good to say. What he say, man? Go ahead and put your hand over your mouth. Get it for him, man. Proverbs 30, man. They looking at me like they don't know what I'm talking about. You don't know what I'm talking about? You don't know what I'm talking about, nigga. For every wrong answer, boy, Michael got to do 7.5 push-ups. You agree to that? Okay, she's confirmed. Because lack of saying nothing is a verbal confirmation. We don't know what that means. That's verbal confirmation. We'll take it. Don't get nothing wrong there. I don't know where it's at, man. I can't remember. It might be 31. That ain't. There it is. Proverbs 30 and 31.
A greyhound and he goat also, and a king against whom no rising up. If you have done foolishly in lifting up yourself, or if you have thought evil, lay your hand upon your mouth.
No. He said, if you done did foolishly in your mind by exalting yourself, or you done thought some evil, that man say, put your hand over your mouth, keep your mouth closed. You know, that's kind of along the line when he say, you know, he without seeing cast the first stone. But it's more so this here. The Epistle of James. I think it's chapter 3. Let me see. Might be chapter 2. Yeah, there it is. Epistle of James, chapter 2, verse 6.
But you have despised the poor. Do not rich men oppress you and draw you before the judgment seat?
You did not blaspheme.
That worthy name by the which you are called.
If you fulfill the royal law.
According to the scripture, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. You do well.
But if you have
respect to persons, you commit sin and are convinced of the law as transgressors. For whosoever shall keep the whole law and yet offend in one, he is guilty of all. For he that said, do not commit adultery, said also, do not kill. Now, if you commit no adultery, yet if you kill, you are become a transgressor of the law. So speak you and so do, as they that shall be judged by the law of liberty. For he shall have judgment without mercy, that have showed no mercy, and mercy rejoice against judgment.
That's good. I think it might have been chapter 5. That one. Yeah, well, come on here to chapter 5. Five and 7. But both of them good.
Say, be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandmen wait for the precious fruit of the earth, and have long patience for it, until he receive the early and latter rain. Be you also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draw near. Grudge not one against another, brethren, lest you be condemned.
Lest you be what?
Condemned.
Lest you be what?
Condemned.
Why?
Behold, the judge stand before the door.
Tell him what grudge is, man. You know what your law say. What your law say as it pertains to that.
That's the nadzo, that's a side, to groan, a grudge, to murmur, to pray inaudibly.
He say to murmur, to talk about it. He say don't do that with your brother, lest you be condemned. What your law say? Don't bear no grudge. You know what I'm talking about? That's where he get that from. You know what I'm talking about? And of course, you're going to see Absalom and some of the people down with Absalom moving in this fashion. This is why Absalom eventually becomes condemned. This is why the beast becomes condemned. This is why Esau was condemned. See, go to Hebrews 12 and 14, man, just so you can see where Esau get cut off.
Follow shalom with all and Kadash, without which no man shall see the Lord. Looking diligently, lest any man fail of the mercy of Elohim, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble, and thereby many be defiled.
Many be what?
Defiled.
He said, lest there be some what?
Lest there be fornication.
No.
Say, lest any root of bitterness.
They're telling what bitterness is. You finna be doing push-ups with Mike.
That's pakriya, that's bitter gall, extreme wickedness.
Extreme wickedness. Boy, can you sit up? Boy, your spine's gonna be messed up, boy. I ain't saying that to be funny. When your back go to hurt, you're gonna wonder why. Because that's a horrible way to sit. Your spine is in your back. It's part of your back. Your back is made up of a multitude of parts. It's made up of your traps, your rear deltoids, your rhomboids, your lats, your spinal erector. I didn't say you did. Your spinal cord. Your spinal cord got spinal fluid. But when you sit with bad posture, it puts your spine out of whack, which leads to back pain. As a man, you're supposed to sit up straight, shoulders back, head up. That's proper posture. You sit around slouched as a man, you look unconfident. You look like a Nancy boy. You know what I'm talking about? Which means you'll turn around and you'll be walking around slouched over with your head down. When nobody look at you like a man, take you seriously, give you any respect. I mean, when you walk with your head down and your shoulders slouched, it means you're not confident in yourself as a man. Yeah, you walk with your shoulders back, chest out, chin up. That's how a man walks and carries himself. Yeah. You didn't know that, did you?
I never recognized the way my dad walks. That's usually how he walks.
Sit up,
Just that, so that's not what you said.
That's how a man's supposed to walk. Shoulders back and his chest up, chest out, his chin up. Walking down with your head down, you walking down, you either oblivious to life or you lack confidence. Slow on, Brother Reynolds. Yeah. You supposed to sit like that, but good posture keep your see y'all young so you can get away with it. But it's gonna catch up with you when you get older. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you don't want to sit slouched over like that. Shalom, Brother Francis, it's bad for your back. You just saying that, or you just saying that because you want to be a part of the conversation?
I can do that.
See, your soldiers slouch right now.
I do that
Yeah, that's bad posture. Hey, you, fat baby boo. Stop it. Sit down. Sit down. Thank you. Come on with it.
Say, lest there any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For you know not how
he sold his inheritance to fulfill his lust.
For you know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears.
Man, you think you can reject the inheritance of God, and you think because you cry about it, and now you say you want it, you think you're going to get it? You smoking rocks if you do. That's what people think. You got to understand, son, that junk ain't just, he rejected the birthright. He rejected the promises of God. You not understand the birthright is tied to what he promised to Abraham? So that means if he rejected the birthright, which is what he promised to Abraham, what does Genesis 15 say about Abraham? He believed in Yahuwah, and he counted it to him for righteousness. So for Esau to reject the birthright, he didn't believe in Yahuwah. I don't even see how people can't even pick that up or even pay attention to that, because you think the birthright is something else. You know what I'm saying? Just some stuff. No, that's the promises of God. Did he not say that I'm going to make this promise to you and your seed after you? Did he not turn around and give that same blessing to Isaac in Genesis 25? Get it for him, man. Genesis 25. Somebody on here might be thinking, some old goofy nigga got in the comments talking about somebody died and raised him from the dead. All I can think is, jackass, why is you on a channel that's about the word if you don't believe in the word? How dumb is that? That's like saying you're not a homosexual, but you're watching gay porn. What you looking at it for? It ain't for you. You say you don't like it. You watching it so you can talk bad about it? No, he ain't even know. You watched it so you can go to hell. Not because I want you to go to hell because I disagree with your statement, but because whatever you heard, the Lord wanted you to hear so he can use it against you when the day you got to go to court. That's why I said that. Not because of the individual personally. That means he let you come right on around and either get a piece of information for you to be used against you in a court of law. See, that's something that don't get done in Yasharal either. Ain't nobody coming you reading no Miranda rights. How much you got the right to remain silent. Them people locked you up because they wanted to. Well, they locked Jeremiah up because they ain't like what he was prophesying. At the end of the day, well, it was so bad with the Lord, they had to find something to make up to lock him up for. Come on with it.
Then again, Abram took a wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bare him Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua. And Jokshan begat Sheba and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Ashurim, and Letushim, and Lamum, and Lamim. And the sons of Midian, Ephah, and Epher.
Say who, Lamim? Oh, that was your song back in the day, wasn't it? You know what song I'm talking about, no? Yeah, you know. I seen Sid Silver was in his dorm room talking about this is why he hot. This is why he hot. Yeah, you were playing that song, weren't you?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I know. I know Michael Ward. Look how she looking. He from the Bronx. I don't know where that nigga from. Oh, that's even more so. He from Brooklyn. Oh, you were playing that song. It's okay. I didn't say if you heard it. I said you played it on purpose. Yeah, that nigga had a CD. That nigga went to the store and bought that. Go ahead.
And Ephah and Hanok, Abidah, Eldah, all these the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac.
You gave all that he had under who?
Unto Isaac.
Under who?
Unto Isaac.
Go ahead.
But unto the sons of the concubines which Abram had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac his son while he yet lived eastward unto the east country.
Let me tell you something. That's the difference between the son of a wife and the son of a concubine. Son of a wife get an inheritance. Son of concubines get gifts. You know what I'm talking about? And that's just what that is, man. He get a gift. Here you go, son. Don't get to leave empty-handed. Here's $50. I'm just using that as an example. This is $100. Because at the end of the day, yeah, those were his seeds, but he didn't consider any of them to be his sons. He ain't send Ishmael away empty-handed. He said, here go, son. Y'all go ahead and slide. But the stuff that's mine, oh, that go to my only begotten son. That don't go to nobody else. That's how that works. That's why Esau was upset, because that birthright blessing with Isaac, did it not? And that's what it said. So then he giving it to his firstborn son to establish the covenant of Yahuwah in him. And Esau rejected that and said, I don't want it. So it wasn't a birthright he was rejecting. It was Yahuwah that he was rejecting. So then you think you can reject Yahuwah, then come back with some tears and be like, let me get it. I told a lot of people, it's a lot of Hebrews, boy, them niggas got the spirit of Esau all the way through them. Because he didn't reject the birthright off of no laws, because we know they had laws. How we know that Esau them were keeping the law? Let's take a look. Genesis 18 and 18.
Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be beruth in him. For I know him that he will command his children and his household after him.
And it's who?
And his household after him.
What else?
And they shall keep the way of Yahuwah.
They gonna keep the way of what?
Of Yahuwah.
What else?
To do justice and judgment, and that Yahuwah may bring upon Abraham that which
y'all
he has
know way
spoken
is
of him.
Darak. That's a way of life. Let me tell you something, man. Let me ask y'all this question. Esau crime won't help when you perverse as Esau was called in Hebrews. It definitely not gonna help. Let me ask y'all this question. Was Abraham alive to see Esau and Jacob? So if he was alive to see him, you don't think he taught him? See, you know, things are different now than they was in antiquity. I don't want to say back then, because that make it seem like that was in a lifetime close enough to us. You know what I'm talking about? See, in antiquity, though you sleeve your father and mother and cleave to your wife, it wasn't an irregular thing for the man to be in close proximity to his father. Not his wife's father, his father. You know what I'm talking about? And his father to give direction. You know what I'm talking about? With the son and with the grandson. You got to realize, how old was Isaac when them kids were born? We read it last night. He was 60 years old. Quran just dropped the verse. Let's go over there and look at it. Genesis 26 and 5. Well, he's looking at that because Abraham obeyed his voice, so that's why I got to take that back. We already read that one now. Well, you can read 26. One ain't going to hurt nobody.
And there was a famine in the land beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And Yahuwah appeared unto him and said, go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell you of. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with you, and will baruch you. For unto you and unto your seed I will give all these countries.
That's right.
And I'll perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham your father. And I'll make your seed to multiply as the stars of Shamayim, and will give unto your country, unto your seed, all these countries. And in your seed shall all the nations of the earth be baruched.
You see, he just gave him the covenant that he gave to Abraham. You just see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? That's wild right there, man. That's tough. Now listen, Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebecca. You know what's funny? Because you see people in America talk about it more than anything, about them arguing about what you call it? You know, a man being substantially older than the woman that he married. Now, I don't know how old Rebecca was, but they were married 20 years before they had him turn. You know what I'm talking about? So she very well may have been about 40, her doggone self, by the time she had him turn. You know what I'm talking about? Because they were 40 when they got married, and they were 60 when she had. Because remember, he entreated up for her because she hadn't had a child yet. You know what I'm talking about? So we can reasonably surmise that she was more than likely between the ages of in her mid 30s to early 40s when she had these children. You know what I'm talking about? More than likely in her 40s. Because, you know, I won't say age 18, but they wasn't marrying nobody at 15, 16 years old. So she was probably in her early 20s when they got married. So I only mention that because, see, now we live in a society, women don't want to be wives, women don't want to have kids. They don't want to do any of that. You know what I'm talking about? Then you got people say it's okay to push it off. You know what I'm talking about? While you've been out here, you know what I'm talking about? Horn it up. That's male or female. And then you want to come together and be a family. That's male or female. I'm not making a delineation between either one. You can't be out here horning it up, and then what type of wisdom you going to have to get him turned, except whoredom. And see, with whoredom, it just ain't the looseness of the loins, it's the looseness of the mind that you had been living the whole time. Because you weren't under any restrictions or prohibited in your spirits. You did as you felt. You did what you wanted. You went and you magnified your lust and you lived according to that. That's not what Abraham taught his household. So that's not what Isaac taught his, but Esau was a rejecter of that. You know what I'm talking about? Because Esau was a carnal man. Remember now, when he rejected, the birthright is the right of the firstborn. You just seen in Genesis 26, that's what he gave him. That's what he gave him. So when it was time when Jacob said, let me get your inheritance, he like, man, bump you in that promise. Let me tell y'all something, man. Just got to be real with yourself. You don't think that Esau and Jacob were, for Jacob to ask him for the birthright, you don't think that they were aware that there was a blessing from on high that the oldest son was set to receive? You don't think Isaac ain't never told him about that? You don't think they knew about that? See, we didn't walk around thinking, man, you don't think they know what was going on? That means from the time that Esau first heard about that birthright, he didn't care about it. You don't get to a point when you hungry for some food and somebody asks you to sell me your birthright to now you despised it. You despised it long before then. You despised it. Niggas just think he just despised it that day. Then you got people like, man, Jacob was wrong for that. He this, he that. Jacob wasn't wrong for nothing. All Jacob did was expose what was already in Esau's heart. That was already in his heart. All it took was a pot of beans to bring it out. That's all it took. A pot of beans. See what we just read about Ammon, the unbridled lust he had in him? All it took was for him to see his sister to bring it out. It was always there. Yeah, it was always there. That's what I tell you, man. Man, look at man. That's why he say the word is sharper than a two-edged sword. And he said that's why he say he searched the hearts of men, and then he put men in positions so that you could see what's really in them. Yeah, that's really it. Esau been hated Yahuwah. He been hated. See, you think it's about a nationality. It's not about a nationality. It's about the heart of that man. Because if we want to take that into account, then the house of Yasharal hated Yahuwah. Because they were bucking him from the time they met him. Yeah, Esau had a hatred for the promise of Yahuwah. He didn't believe in it. He didn't trust in it. So you know what he didn't do? Let's take a look. Hebrews 11:22. This is the difference between, say, Esau and Moses. Then, okay, like this here, right? And then I'm going to flip this on here because this nigga asked me this the other day, and I'm going to see if y'all can get some examples of this out the text real quick. But come on, Hebrews 11:22.
By faith, Joseph, when he died, made mention of the departing of the sons
Make
of
it 25.
Yasharal,
We ain't got time.
choosing rather to suffer the
Back it
affliction.
up then. But just go to 22. You're just gonna lead it. Ain't gonna hurt nobody.
By faith, Joseph, when he died, made mention of the departing of the sons of Yasharal and gave commandment concerning his bones. By faith, Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents.
Moses, when he was what?
Born, was hid 3 months of his parents.
What else?
Because they saw a proper child, and they were not afraid of the king's commandment.
Go ahead.
By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter.
What else?
Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of Elohim
And what?
than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season.
Go ahead.
Esteeming the reproach of Hamashiach greater riches than the treasures in Egypt.
He esteemed the reproach of what?
Of Hamashiach greater riches than their treasures in Egypt.
Why?
For he had respect unto the recompense of the reward.
See, Esau didn't have respect to the recompense of the reward. As Quran just mentioned, and of course, you know the book said Jacob was a perfect man who dwelt in God because he said he dwelt in tents. You know what I'm talking about? Esau was a man of the what? The field. He was a man who was in the earth. So what this tell you? One was spiritual, one was carnal. Also, it give you, if we took the time to do it, and show you the delineation between the wheats and the tares. They both look like Isaac's seed, but one was different from the other. And it only took to the time appointed for you to see which one was which. Because remember what it said, tare wore black on the inside. See, Esau was black on the inside. Heart was black. See, one of the biggest problems with a lot of people with their word, man, you focused on the outward man. When this man told you, man look on outward appearance. Yahuwah look on the heart. Yahuwah searching the hearts of men to see what's in it. That's what he judged a man by. He don't care nothing about what nationality you is, man. The nationality pertains to the promise. You know what I'm talking about? See, when that promise, that's when that nationality come into play. Yeah. That promise come into play strong right there now. Ain't no denying that. If we deny that, then we denying the covenant. You know what I'm talking about? Because he made a covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as it pertains to certain things. We cannot deny that. But when it come down to everlasting salvation and who is just and right in his sight, oh, that don't matter. He gonna search that heart. Let me see what's in there. You know what I'm talking about? And a lot of situations and circumstances you get placed in, you placed in to see where your heart is at, where your faith at, and what type of mind you got. You know what I'm talking about? And he either showed that to be a reflection unto you so you can make a new one, or it's for you to go to hell with it. You know what I'm talking about? And that determination is up to you on what direction you go. Where we at?
Okay, we're done with the Hebrews 11.
Yeah. That's good. So give me Romans 2 and 14. You can make it 2 and 10. Don Joanne.
But esteem, honor, and shalom to every man
Make
that
it
work
2 and
good.
9.
Tribulation and anguish upon every soul of man that do evil, of the Yahudim first and also of the Gentile. But esteem, honor, and shalom to every man that work good, to the Yahudim first and also to the Gentile. For there's no respect of persons with Elohim. For as much as have sinned without law shall also perish without law.
Who has sinned without law gonna do what?
Perish without law.
What else?
And as many have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law.
And what else?
For not the hearers of the law just before Elohim, but the doers of the law shall be justified.
Go ahead.
For when the Gentiles which have not the law do by nature the things contained in the law.
Tell them what by nature mean, man. Is it naughty by nature? You ready to hit the uptown anthem? Hip hop hooray?
By nature's
Here we
fusus,
go.
that's nature, the nature of things, the force, the laws, the order of nature.
The order of nature. Here we go. You down with OPP? Yeah, you know me. Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
Having not the law are a law unto themselves.
They are what to themselves?
A law unto themselves.
Go ahead.
Which show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and thoughts this the mean while accusing or else excusing one another.
Paul, where y'all can see some Gentiles who by nature kept the law without hearing it.
He said he's gonna stay a righteous nation.
Well, Amalek was a prophet, though.
But he wasn't from the seed of Abraham like Jacob, so I look at it like a Gentile to bring some bloodline.
Yeah, but it literally say he was a prophet, so we'd have to exclude him. Because Yahuwah appeared to him in a vision or a dream. So, well, that's what he was speaking on their behalf. He was mainly referring to when he took Abraham's wife. You know what I'm saying? But this man there himself specifically, oh, he was a prophet. You know what I'm talking about? So he's in a... Yeah, I know, but see, at that point, it wasn't no nations yet because Abraham hadn't produced no seed.
I'm talking about younger nation. He was like Philistine. He was from the bloodline of Ham, pretty much.
Yeah, I got you. Now I got you. You know what I'm talking about? But for him to, but the word of Yahuwah was in the whole earth at that time because it wasn't a covenant with one nation, which is what he referring to, Paul referring to. Indeed, Rahab is one of them. Quran mentioned the Rechabites. You know what I'm talking about? And the other one that you would be able to mention is dang, it was just in my brain and I don't forgot. Oh, the Egyptian midwives. You know what I'm talking about? Because they did by nature what's in the word. Because they showed mercy. You know what I'm talking about? They didn't slaughter the Hebrew sons, they hit them. You know what I'm talking about? And then when they were stepped to about it, they refused and said, we're not doing that. You know what I'm talking about? See, a lot of people looking for, they didn't keep the Sabbath, they didn't do this here, but the weightier matters, that's what the people were doing. You know what I'm talking about? So Yahuwah gonna justify them because it's nothing to teach you what day to sanctify and what food not to eat. You know what I'm talking about? But the element of the spirit of Elohim, well, that's something that's already there. Because most people ain't merciful. Most people are vindictive and spiteful. You know what I'm talking about? Most people are not forgiving and lack compassion. You know what I'm talking about? But the sad part with man is we want all these things rendered unto us, but we can't even render them to one another. It's the same way I tell you, man, we be happy about, yeah, we go out here and do this for the poor and this, that, there, and the third. Like I told you before, ain't nothing wrong with that. But that don't trump if you do it for somebody who are the household of the faith. Like Yahuwah is not giving you a high five because you did that for poor sinners. It's good. Then can't you read in Galatians, he say to do well and to do good to the householder? Get it for it, man. Galatians chapter 6. Somebody done peed in the pot? You peed in the pot, big grown rusty nigga. What it is? Galatians 6? Let me see what verse. Don, Joanne. I didn't want to see where I want to start at.
I told him. Close it, bro.
Just give me 6 and 1, man. Go ahead with it.
Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, you which are spiritual, restore such a one in the ruach of meekness, considering yourself, lest you also be tempted.
Bear you what?
One another's burden,
and so fulfill
the law of Mashiach.
See, some people like, what's the law of Christ? He's saying that the law of Mashiach is the reproaches of them that reproach me fell on me. So he carried that burden. So he's saying if we want to fulfill the law of Mashiach, carry the burden. Go ahead.
For if a man think
Hold
himself,
on, tell him what burden is in that passage in the Greek. I know we talked about this not too long ago, but we'll reference it and then.
That's baros, heaviness, weight, burden, or trouble.
Yeah, he said carry the trouble of your brother. Go ahead.
For if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing,
he lied to himself.
But let every man prove his own work.
See, that's what was happening with what his name is? Absalom. He thought himself to be something when he was nothing, lying to himself. Come on with it.
But let every man prove his own work, and then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone and not in another.
For every
man shall bear his own burden.
Let him that is taught in the word
communicate unto him that teach in all good things.
Be not deceived.
Elohim is not mocked.
Whatsoever a man
sow,
that he shall also
reap.
For he that sow to his
flesh
shall of the what?
Flesh reap corruption.
And he that sow to the ruach
shall of the ruach
reap what?
Life everlasting.
And let us not be weary
and well doing.
For in due season
we shall reap
if we what?
Faint not.
And we have therefore opportunity.
Let us do good unto all.
He said, let us do good unto all. Especially
unto them who are of the household of faith.
So I'm not saying that you can't do that. He said do good unto everybody, but he put a preeminence, a level of importance on those who are in the household of the faith. You know what I'm talking about? You got to remember, man, what does the book of Proverbs say? There's a passage in the book of Proverbs that relates directly to what's in Matthew chapter 25. What is in Matthew chapter 25? He said, man, when I was naked, he said, you clothed me. When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was sick, you visited me. When I was in jail, you came and hollered at me. And they say, Master, when did we do this here? He said, when you did it to the least of these, my brethren, you did it unto me. It's in book of Proverbs. Who know which proverb? Oh, no. Not that. That's something different. That's something different. There's a proverb that lines up explicitly and specifically with that Matthew 25. We didn't talk about it, but it's been some years. So I'm not mad at nobody who don't remember. But praise be to Yahuwah, just the fact that it's in my mind right now. So that gives us an opportunity to go back and look at it again. Who can tell me what proverb it is? Hey, little girl. Hey, little girl. Hey, little girl. Hey, little girl. You being a baby. You being a baby. Why you being a baby? Ain't nobody talking to you, for one. Ain't nobody talking to you, cuz. Watch your mouth. All right. And that's how it happened to you. Y'all ain't ready yet? Come on, man. Go to Proverbs 19 to 17 and tell it to him again. I said, it's all good. It's been a while.
He that have pity upon the poor, lend unto Yahuwah.
He lend unto who?
Unto Yahuwah.
He lend unto who?
Unto Yahuwah.
Oh, man.
And that which you have given will pay him again.
He gonna do what?
Pay him again.
Read it again.
He that have pity upon the poor, lend unto Yahuwah, and that which he have given will he pay him again.
He said, you lend to who?
Unto Yahuwah.
Tell him what pity means.
Canaan has to be gracious, to show favor, pity.
Tell him what poor is there, man.
That's dull. That's low, poor, weak. Then one who is low, needy, poor man.
Shalom, Brother Harris. Amen. Tell him what lend means.
That's lava. That's to join, to be joined, to borrow, to lend, to cleave.
So that's where Matthew 25 come from. He said, if you show mercy or graciousness to the poor, you gave that to Yahuwah. Now, it's one thing if you do it to a sinner. Just imagine if you did it to a saint. Because when Yahushua said in Matthew 25, that wasn't pertaining to everybody, was it? He said, when you did it to the least of these, my who is his brother? So that's a different conversation. See, you'll get one level of looking upon from Yahuwah for doing it for a stranger. You're going to get another level doing it for your brother. Because if you did it for your brother, you did it for the Lord. You know what I'm talking about? You know why? Because when you saw him, you saw the Lord. So that's when you sit back and look at it, like if you saw you notice how much stuff some of them people did for the Lord when they seen it. Remember, it said them women get them Luke chapter 8, man, for these ladies. Remember, I had a dude try to tell me these women were teaching the Lord. I said, boy, he gonna teach you how to do the boogie woogie in hell, nigga. You're gonna be like that whole in that video, butt naked trying to get a coffin being repoed, falling all in the street. I put that in chat. That's hilarious, man. I don't know what happened. Baby car was getting repoed. All you seen it was falling out the trunk. I don't know if she was in the trunk. I don't know how the trunk was open. I didn't know she was butt naked with a bonnet on. And nigga in the parking lot was like this here when she fell. That nigga did like this. Then the people were recording. She talking about, what y'all recording me for? And they said, what you outside naked for? Yeah, that's what I did. Come on. Madeline, turn around and pay attention and leave her alone.
What, verse 1?
Where you at?
Luke 8.
That boy say Luke 8:1. Yeah, that boy say when somebody got sexy red pregnant again. Ain't that unfortunate for the world?
And it came to pass afterward that he went throughout every city and village, preaching and showing the glad tidings of the Malkuth of Elohim, and the 12 with him. And certain women which had been healed of evil ruachs and infirmities.
Look at this here. These women have been what?
Healed of evil ruachs and infirmities.
So these women had some evil spirits on them. They had some weaknesses on them. And what they did?
Mary called Magdalene, out of whom went 7 devils, and Joanna, the wife of Cusa, Herod's steward, and Susanna, and many others who ministered unto him of their substance.
They gave unto the poor man. You got people tell you that they told him. Man, look at man. I don't know how dudes do it. Cause boy, I couldn't sit down and listen to no woman who got a doggone fitted hair hat on her head talking about she finna teach me about Yahuwah with tranny makeup on. I'm not finna sit there and listen to that. Baby, you don't even love yourself enough to wear your own hair. You look like somebody from the Planet of the Apes with that damn wig on. I don't know how these dudes do it, man. You got women around here talking about they apostles. Ain't got no woman apostle in the book. How? You know what I'm just trying to check your memory. You know how they say how a woman could be an apostle. You know what they use to justify that, right? And for women to teach, and it ain't Deborah. You know what they use to justify that? When the Lord talked to Mary at the grave and told her to tell his disciples that he had risen from the dead. They say, see, she was an apostle right there. That's the gospel right there. That man just told her, man, go tell them boys I got up and come holler at me. That ain't no preaching. Because you don't see her preaching nowhere else. They definitely, if she was out here dropping word, they definitely would have left a record. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that's the prophetess Holder. That's what the dude told me during that debate years back. You know what I'm talking about? He said they did teach because she was teaching in the college. I was like, bro, college means suburb, bro. That word means suburb. That nigga thought she was at a real university.
She was teaching at Yale, bro.
She was teaching at Yale. She was at Harvard. She was at Princeton. She was at Howard. You know what I'm talking about? What's the other one called? She was at Spelman. She was teaching all the lady prophets. You know what I'm talking about? Hold on, y'all. He said I tried to show a woman that thought before. Okay, Brother Harrison asked, if you got immersed under the name of Jesus, that don't count, right? I'm not one to haggle about the name. It's more so about what you were taught. And if you weren't taught the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach from Genesis to Malachi, then you weren't really baptized into his death because you didn't know what you believed when you got immersed. So I always hear people trying to say Judea were apostles. That boy say pure Google. I can't speak on that. But yeah, it's more so the teaching than the name. Because if you was taught the testimony of Yahushua for you to believe on, and you were baptized in the name of Jesus, I'm not finna be going back and forth. Hey man, shoot, you good. But if somebody just told you get baptized in the name of Jesus, but you ain't believe on him as the scripture has said, then that baptism really didn't serve you any purpose because you didn't even know what you were being baptized for. You know what I'm saying? According to what's written. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the most important part. See, show them this here, man. Mark 16 and 15.
Said Mark.
16 and 15.
That go you into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature.
Do what with it?
Preach the gospel to every creature.
Pause. Now go to Isaiah 52. You're 52, man. Yeah, 52 and 7. I know a lot of brews get caught up on that name stuff. I personally don't care. You know what I'm saying? I don't use the name Jesus, but it's too much real stuff in life to be going back and forth arguing with somebody about what name they use. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't got time for that.
How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him that bring good tidings.
That bring what?
Good tidings.
And
that publish shalom.
That publish what?
Shalom.
What else?
That bring good tidings of good. That
What
publish salvation.
That publish what?
Salvation.
That say what?
Unto Zion, Yah Elohim reigns.
So we gotta ascertain what that is. John 7:37.
There you go. 7:37.
Come on with it, son.
In the last day, that great of the feast, Yahushua stood and cried, saying, if any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink. He that believe on me, as the scriptures have said.
He that what?
Believe on me, as the scriptures have said.
Out of his belly
shall flow rivers of living water.
Flow rivers of what?
Living water.
This spake he.
Of the Ruach, which they that believe on him should receive.
Should receive.
For the Ruach HaKadosh was not yet, because that Yahushua was not yet esteemed.
That's right. Come on back to Mark 16. Quran mentioned to you right there, say Philip giving understanding to the eunuch about Isaiah 53 before baptizing him. Because that's the key thing. Because remember, he say, man, what hinders me to be baptized? He said, you believe on Yahushua with your whole heart? He said, yeah. He said, come on. Because at the end of the day, if you don't even know, according to the text, why you believe that Yahushua, the son of Elohim, you ain't ready to be baptized. If you don't know, according to the text, that he was going to resurrect from the dead and for what purpose, you don't need to be baptized. Because you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. One thing different, man, than what most brews and Christians will tell you is that Yahuwah wants you to know explicitly and specifically why you doing what you're doing. That's why he say if you lack understanding, you worthy of death, because you're supposed to know why you're doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? While you haggling about a name, you still don't know what you're doing. So you might as well call them whatever you want to call them. Because you ain't calling on nobody. You don't know why you're doing what you're doing. Remember what it said in Romans? We talked about it as forth as Moses bringing up out of Egypt. How can you believe on him whom you have not heard? And how can you hear without a preacher? And how can they preach except they be sent? It's impossible. You can't believe on somebody. He said, man, I heard of you. He say with the ear, and now my eye see you. Because faith come by hearing, and hearing come by the word. So the only way that we could believe to be baptized is you would have to hear the gospel of Yahushua. And if we don't get that, that baptism is for nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's for nothing. It's more so the preaching that you were immersed under, and not the name, or not because you were Hebrew. You know what I'm talking about? But every man got to go seek to Yahuwah, and you know what I'm talking about? If you done been immersed and commune with him, you know what I'm talking about? And because I can't do nothing but give you the information, but you got to take that. You know what I'm saying? If it's a concern in your spirit, you know, you take that to him, man. And if Yahuwah be merciful, he'll direct you in the way you ought to go as it pertains to that. You know what I'm talking about? Because that's vital. You got to have that. You got to be immersed. You know what I'm talking about? Mark 16 and 15.
And he said unto them, go you into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. He that believe and is baptized shall be saved.
He that what?
That believe and is baptized.
He that what?
That believe and is baptized shall be saved, but he that believe not shall be damned.
Notice it's not the fact that you didn't get baptized that get you damned. It's that you didn't believe. And he said, he that believe on me as the scripture has said. But get that Romans 10 and 12 because I mentioned it, man. And we'll get back to Absalom goofy behind, man. Ruthie.
For there is no difference between the Yahudim and the Greek, for the same master over all is rich unto all that call upon him.
Mm-hmm.
For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved.
Anybody call on the name of Yahuwah going to be what?
Saved.
Come on.
How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed?
How you going to call on somebody you don't believe in?
And how shall they believe in him of whom they have not heard?
See, listen here, right? This is why 99.9% of us, before you got in the word, everything you did was ineffective. How was you going to call on a man who you didn't believe in? And how was you going to believe on a man you never heard of? All we was going on is your people telling you believe in Jesus, and that was it. They gave you a little bit of information. He died for my, Jesus loves me. How do I know? Because the Bible told me so. And you're repeating it. You're repeating these things. You don't know why. If somebody would have came and told you why you believed on him, you couldn't tell them. Not in a spiritual and succinct and adult manner. Peter mentioned it. It come from Isaiah 8. You're supposed to be able to explain your reason of hope. With humility, you're supposed to be able to plainly and distinctly and succinctly explain that. If you can't do that as a functional adult, you don't even know why you believe what you believe. You're just doing something. You know what I'm talking about? Because I done told you before, if the first thing you lead with is carnal, you don't even know God. Meaning, if you lead with being an Israelite or being the law, you don't even know Yahuwah. You already don't know why you're doing what you're doing. You just a part of a fan club. You're going to turn around, this man going to look at you, and he going to say, man, I don't know you, bro. Reason why I say that's important, because when the time comes, when your faith get tested, you're going to do like Esau, man, and you're going to forsake your birthright to save your life. Because you're going to feel like you at the point to die. Because that's what the beast's going to be coming at with. That man going to threaten you with death for you to give up your birthright. You can't buy or sell unless you take my mark. What good is this birthright seeing I'm at the point to die? Yeah, man, that's how you going to kick a game, man. You know what I'm talking about? Because, hey, ain't no beast system out here, bro. That's just internet nigga talk. And haven't I been telling y'all that for damn near a decade? I ain't just come up with this today. I ain't just come up with this last month. I've been telling you this the whole time. Ain't no beast system in play. You ain't seen no beast system. This is just an oppressive system. There's a difference. A beast system is led and ran specifically by Satan himself. These people are sinners because since they sin, they're of the devil. But America is not ran by Satan himself. Iran is not ran by Satan himself. China's not ran by Satan himself. It's ran by wicked men. America's ran by wicked men. You know what I'm talking about? But Satan ain't at the head. You know what I'm talking about? You know why I say that? Because you would know if Satan was at the head. Because what did we look at the other night? If Satan was at the head, the book of Yahuwah wouldn't be out here. Because it would interfere with what he got going on. He wouldn't let you preach it. He wouldn't let you use it. See, let me tell you something. Regardless of people are teaching properly or not, if just the fact you can access it, that means Yahuwah can put a spirit on some man to be able to teach it to you correctly. So he got to make sure you ain't got no access to it. So that the only person that who could get the word from, you're going to have to get it from the devil. I mean, I understand, man. I done told y'all this before, man. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Wicked men who reverence Satan and got him in his heart. But we know the beast system, Satan at the head of it. That's what the book saying. Satan is at the head of it. He calling the shot. Ain't nobody out here openly worshiping Satan. I'm talking about and compelling the people to do it. See, we ain't talking about this what you call it, this undercover oblivious stuff. Nigga bumps a nigga throwing up Masonic signs and devil horns. They're not gonna play them type of games when the beast in power. You're gonna worship the devil or die. Yeah, that's how that's going. You're gonna worship the devil or die. Ain't nobody gonna be throwing up no 666, no OK symbol, and like this here, we hiding it. No. Ain't gonna be no church of Satan. It's just gonna be Satan. And you can't look here, man. When Satan get in power, man, when do a man working through Esau, man, you can't worship no other God, man. Ain't gonna be no worshiping of Yahuwah, ain't gonna be worshiping of no Buddha, ain't gonna be worshiping of no Allah. He want all the praise and worship for himself. See, people think it's just gonna be a little mix of something, man. You know what I'm talking about? Like I said, man, when I was in prison, man, looking at that, that what you call that stuff? That that free man redemption stuff, the UCC stuff and all that. Like this here, man, nigga was hard on that John Paul. You know what I'm talking about? When we was on the road, man, we had all that information. Then we were getting the newspapers from the dudes and Washington State that was all in on that stuff and all that, man. And let me tell you something, man. One of the biggest things they tell you in the free man movement is how you know about the birth certificate, the social security card, and all this stuff right here, right? You know what I'm talking about? But let me tell you something, man. You think they got a social security card in the UK? Quran, y'all got a social security card in the UK? You think they got one in France? You think they got one in China? You think they got one in North Korea? You think they got one in Mexico? You think they got some in any of the countries in Africa? I'm saying this for you to think. You think they got the birth certificate like you got over there? So how is it a beast system if it's only to America? Why are we sitting here pausing and cutting off everything to make it pertain to America when, hey, man, the whole world going to be affected by this? Not just America. Hold on, man. He said, that's what I try to tell this sister who said in the time of judgment, we still got access to the word. We not in that time yet. Absolutely not. Yeah, no, man. No, when the beast in power, that man said it's going to be a famine. It's going to be a famine because this man going to be saying he God. He going to be teaching people out the word. He can't let nobody with the word preach it because that's going to throw off his game. Why you think he killed the 2 witnesses? Why you think he mad with it? Man, look at, man, people playing game because nobody don't really want to deal with that we going to be killed for this. So you really want something really generic and simple and ho-hum happy because you haven't accepted the fact in your mind that you're going to have to die for this. Like if anybody presented the word to you to where you understood off top that you were going to be willing to physically, literally lay your life down for this here, man, you're not finna do this here, man. You know what I'm talking about? That's why he say when persecution and tribulation arise because of the word, by and by they're offended. Hold up. I ain't know we had to do all this here. You mean I got to go to jail? I got to be killed? Man, let me tell you something, man. What I told you a long time ago when my man Rohan was like, yeah, man, if they lock you up, man, don't get me out. Hell, shoot, Monte said it on the song. If I'm about to die, don't come and save me. Let them people kill me, man. You know what I'm talking about? Leave me alone. Let Yahuwah be esteemed. If it take my death for you, for Yahuwah to get esteemed, then let me die then. If I got to go to jail for Yahuwah to be esteemed, then let me go then. Why are you trying to take away from Yahuwah what's his? Because you want to save yourself. You niggas scared for real. You scared for real. You know what I'm talking about? You can't be scared, man. Ain't nothing but the jailhouse. You ever been to the booty house? They got room for you at the booty house. Peter wasn't scared to go to jail. You know what I'm talking about? Jeremiah wasn't scared to go. Samson wasn't scared to go.
Daniel in that line.
Daniel wasn't scared to go. Them 3 boys wasn't scared to go. Yahushua wasn't scared to go. Like Quran said, you're going to be with the Lord if they kill you. But niggas scared to die because you don't believe in no resurrection of the dead. Nigga don't believe in that. That's why they don't want to die. Nigga, you going to die anyway. So better to die with honor than to live as a coward. You know what I'm talking about? Come on, man. Where you at? Joanne, hush your mouth. Where you at?
Romans 10 and 14.
Come on, finish that.
Say, how then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in him in whom they have not heard? How shall they hear without a preacher? And how shall they preach except they be sent, as it is written?
How beautiful.
Are the feet of them that preach the gospel of shalom and bring glad tidings of good things.
That's right. That's good. That's good. So that's really what it takes right there, Brother Harrison, man. That's what you got to have. If you would preach the gospel of Yahushua HaMashiach and Ruach in the truth, in my estimation, you good. But if that wasn't what you was baptized under, I would recommend that you do it again. You know what I'm talking about? And one thing I can say, man, if you run across somebody, since it's on my brain, and they tell you in order for you to be baptized, you got to join their congregation, that nigga ain't a God, because that ain't in the book. You know what I'm talking about? That is not in the book. Nobody said, oh, if I baptize you, you got to be a part of my assembly. You're not getting baptized into a congregation. You're getting baptized into the congregation of Yahuwah, a.k.a. the body of Yahushua HaMashiach. That's what you're getting baptized into. You ain't getting baptized into no church membership. You know what I'm talking about? Unless you want to talk about the membership of the Lord, the registry in heaven, not a registry in somebody's office, not no registry at the state of Secretary of State, because that church is an LLC or a corporation. No, that ain't what you're getting baptized in. So if anybody tell you that, man, they ain't the God. Don't let them do it. And then what was the other one? I can't even remember. It'll come to me in a minute. Come on back to 2 Samuel. Chapter 15. What verse you in? Oh, and the other one is nobody can't tell you if they gonna baptize you or not. Because the only question they can ask is like what the eunuch asked. What hindered me to be baptized? And Philip said, you believe that Yahushua the Son of God? He said, yeah. He said, there's some water right here. He said, come on. Because I can't tell you if you believe or not. You know what I'm talking about? As a man, you don't have that level of determination that you might feel somebody don't believe based off what you may observe. But if they tell you they believe with all their heart, then you got to baptize them. You just got to let them know what they're getting themselves into. Matter of fact, get that for them, man. Acts 8 and 33.
In his humiliation, his judgment was taken away, and who shall declare his generation?
Back it up some, man. Oh, it was really all the way back to 26. What's wrong with you, Eugene? Yes. Okay.
Say, the Malachim of the Lord spake unto Philip, saying, arise, go toward the south unto the way that go down from Jerusalem unto Gaza, which is desert.
Go down to where?
To Gaza, which is desert.
And that's what they fighting over right now? They fighting over desert.
And he arose and went, and behold, a man of Ethiopia, a eunuch of great authority under Candace, queen of the Ethiopians, who had the charge of all her treasure, had come to Jerusalem for the worship, was returning and sitting in his chariot, and read Isaiah the prophet.
And now, again, I'm just pointing this out. Now, how he's sitting in his chariot reading Isaiah the prophet if ain't nobody had no book to take with him? How he's sitting in his car reading it? Because at the end of the day, that's what he's doing. If he's sitting in his chariot, he's sitting in his car reading the word. But I thought they ain't had no book. They had to go to the priest and get it. But he's sitting at the house. He's sitting in the car. Oh, I got a long ride. Might as well read me some Bible on my way back to the house. Is that not what he's doing? Come on with it.
Then the Ruach said unto Philip, go here and join yourself to this chariot. And Philip ran there too and heard him read the prophet Isaiah and said
he reading out loud.
Said, understand you what you read?
He said, you understand what you read?
And he said, how can I, except some man should guide you?
See, that's the difference between this eunuch and this generation. He said, how can I understand it except somebody teach it to me? I can't teach. Hold on. I can't teach it to myself. We live in a time period now. We feel like we can teach it to ourselves. You know the level of pride and arrogance you got to have to think just because you read the word, you could, oh yeah, you who spirit teaching me. How you gonna teach it to you if you ain't never heard of it, done it? And knowing you Israelite ain't knowing him, fool. You know how many of these Israelites around here done as a bunch of rocks? On purpose? Some accidentally. Come on.
And he desired Philip that he would come up and sit with him. But the place of the scripture which he read was this: he was led as a sheep to the slaughter, and like a lamb dumb before his shearers, so opened he not his mouth. In his humiliation, his judgment was taken away. And who shall declare his generation? For his life is taken from the earth.
And the eunuch answered,
Philip, and said, I pray you,
whom speak the prophet?
This of himself or of some other man?
Then Philip opened his mouth
and began at the same scripture and preached unto him Yahushua.
So that don't mean he stopped at Isaiah 53. He said he started right there. Then he opened up the book to him. You know what I'm talking about? Let me put you up on some game real quick, like, man. Go ahead.
And as they went on way, they came unto a certain water, and the eunuch said, see, water, what do hinder me to be baptized?
And Philip said,
if you believe with all your heart, you may.
He said, if you believe with what?
All your heart, you may.
If you believe with what?
All your heart, you may.
And he answered and said,
I believe that Yahushua HaMashiach is the son of Elohim.
Man, look at, man, you can't believe that unless he preached to you. That's the only thing that I can ask you. You believe with all your heart? Who I'm going to tell you to say you don't? If you make the attestation that he the son of God, then come on with it. If you say, I don't know if he the son of God, I'm not going to baptize you. If you look me in the face and say, I don't know if I believe that, that's fine, brother. I'm not baptizing you, though. So, like, you need to go figure that out. You know what I'm talking about? Come back, holler at me later. And then, of course, you know, when he baptized the man, Philip slid. He didn't say, now you got to walk with Philip. That man was already dealing with word. He was already in Jerusalem to get word. That's what he was there for. And that's also case in point that the Ruach of Yahuwah already knows those that belong to him. You know what I'm talking about? Let's come on back to Samuel, man. Prayerfully that helped our brother out on that one, man. Ruthie, you being a baby. Where you at?
Verse 12.
2 Samuel 15, read 11.
Mm-hmm. And with Absalom went 200 men out of Jerusalem, called, and they went in their simplicity, and they knew not anything. And Absalom sent for Ahithophel, the Gilonite, David's counselor.
Now, Gilonite. Y'all know what a Gilonite is? Y'all know where is that a Hebrew or is that a stranger? What y'all think? I'm gonna ooh your butt. Why would you go with stranger? I understand. Let's look at Yahushua son of Nun, chapter 15. Give me verse 45. Now this is Absalom, Ahithophel. This is Absalom's counselor. Now this is who he go for to get a little wisdom, a little gain, a little instruction. I see you, Ruthie. You being a baby. You got it? What I told you, 45?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Yahushua son of Nun, chapter 15, 45.
Ekron with her towns and her villages, from Ekron unto the sea, all that lay near Ashdod with their villages, Ashdod with her towns and her villages.
Hold on one second. Let me help y'all out. Go to verse 1 so y'all can see where we at, and then he gonna come back to 45. Yahushua son of Nun, chapter 15, verse 1.
Then was the lot of the tribe of the sons of Yehuda by their families.
The lot of the tribe of who?
Of Yehuda.
Who?
Of Yehuda.
Okay, now come on back to verse 45. Mother Sharona says stranger also.
To Ekron with her towns and her villages, from Ekron even unto the sea, all that lay near Ashdod with her village, with their villages, Ashdod with her towns and her villages, Gaza with her towns and her villages, unto the river of Egypt, and the great sea in the border, and in the mountains Shamir, Jatir, and Sako, and Dana and Kirjathana, which is the Bur, and Anab, Eshtamo, and Anam, Goshen, Halan, and Gilo.
And who?
Gilo.
And who?
Gilo.
11 cities.
With their villages.
Gilo is where the man from. So he from Judah. But we should have known he was from Judah because who we dealing with?
David.
We're dealing with David. But that's more so also to show you that sometimes they had people identify with the city they were from. Remember how Yahushua was referred to? How was he referred to? Of Nazareth. Because that's where he was from. You know what I'm saying? See, if we was to put our minds in the minds of antiquity, you would be such and such of Jacksonville. Because they want to be able to identify where you from. You know what I'm talking about? Let's come back to 2 Samuel 15. So it go to show that people always rep where they were from. Remember, they said, we found him, Yahushua Nazareth. What they said? Can any good thing come out of Nazareth? That means Nazareth wasn't esteemed as a great city. You know what I'm talking about? Like I told you, that made me think about it a long time ago. I think Nell say she was on the city bus and she heard a dude say, was talking about that because we had just had that conversation about it. It is like 2012. And she was like, the dude said, that'd be like saying the Lord came from out east. You know what I'm saying? Because if let's say Jacksonville was Jerusalem in the center, and you be like, oh, we heard about the Messiah, and you talking about, oh, he from Jesse Street. He from First Street. He from Florida Ave. You know what I'm talking about? You gonna be like, man, the Lord come from out east? Oh, he from 33rd and Mont Creek. I forgot what they said they finna name Hilltop now. I seen they finna change the name. I don't remember. That's what he said. It's Hope, so I can't remember. New Hope. Ain't no hope around there. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't no hope around there. Shoot. My daddy house right around the corner from around there. There wasn't no hope back there back then, and there ain't no hope back there now. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't no hope back. They changed all the apartment names. They changed Eureka Gardens. I forgot what they called it. You know what I'm saying? Dang, I can't remember. I was out there for damn near 2 years working, and I don't remember what they called it. You know what I'm talking about? Changed Washington Heights to Callaway Cove. Ain't no coves out there. I forgot what they changed Cleveland on to. When we was on Atlantic Beach doing the job yesterday, man, my homeboy, he never been down there. I'm like, yeah, them used to be the projects. They moved all the niggas out. You know what I'm talking about? What's say E40 featuring P.D. Pablo, Rep Your City. That what up? Wow, that was your song, wasn't it? I'm talking about you. New Hope Home. Ain't no hope out there. They supposed to be and let somebody, man. It's apartments over here on the west. They dealing with, man. They condemned some units, man. They told them people they had to move in the city. Talking about we just gonna give you $1,700. It cost more than $1,700 to move. That's how bad it was. The people who owned it in Michigan, you know what I'm talking about? They had to condemn units. Yeah, because they said that man ain't been paying for the trash. Yeah, I seen that on the news too. They got a big pile of trash where the dumpster used to be because the company came and picked the dumpster up. Say you don't pay, your trash gonna stay. Damn, I forgot to put that pressure washer on the back of that truck.
I mean, it's stinking.
You know what I'm saying? But nah, we were riding past. I don't know if y'all familiar with Atlantic Beach. When you come across that flyover to get on Mayport, you'll see them like the little townhomes to the right. It's an apartment complex behind that. You know what I'm saying? It's a little Chinese spot. You know what I'm talking about? But it's an apartment complex behind that. That used to be called Atlantic Arms. The hell, they don't even call Emerson Arms no more. They call it Sable Sun. Because you already know if anything got arms in it, that's the projects. You know what I'm talking about? Look at, man, they moved all them niggas out of Atlantic Arms and changed them up. See, niggas right here talking about they gentrifying out east. I said, man, you niggas crazy as hell. Man, ain't nobody trying to live down there. Ain't nobody trying to move out east. And it's not because it's out east. You know what I'm talking about? He know why ain't nobody trying to move out there. Man, look at, man, they've been screaming they were gentrifying Springfield when the Super Bowl was here 10 years ago. The reason why Springfield and out east will never be gentrified is because those are historic homes. So you have a specific set of rules when it comes to rehab because you got a historical preservation society. You can't even go out east in Springfield and tear houses down without permission. You can't go out there and change windows without permission. You have to maintain the historical foundation of the structure. Ain't nobody finna move around there, man. And ain't nobody trying to live that close to the stadium. Ain't nobody, man, you ain't got to worry about out east getting gentrified. You damn sure ain't got to worry about Moncrief getting gentrified. You got people believe that they're gonna gentrify Moncrief. No, what they're gonna do is they're gonna buy all the properties up and keep them as rentals. That's what they're gonna do. But as far as white folks moving on Moncrief, them white folks moved from off Moncrief and Lim Turner a long time ago, and they ain't coming back. Yeah, a lot of people here don't know that. You know what I'm saying? All them white folks used to live over there, man. They slid. Yeah, they ain't coming over there, man. We can't even say that, say Dunn or Ocean Way. You can't. If you want to say something being gentrified, you'd have to say Ocean Way, because black folks live out there. That ain't Ocean Way no more. That's just the way. The racist crackers got pushed back, and you know that. But y'all know full well none of us couldn't just go out the Ocean Way all willy-nilly like that. You know you just couldn't slide on New Berlin Road like that. You know that. You go around there with no problem. Because you ain't never had no business going over there. That's the thing. You know why you never heard it? Because your people like, what we going over there for? We want to live. I mean, because what was either going to happen, you were going to fight or you were going to get in a shootout. Because that's how racist them people were. Man, that junk what number? Woods, hillbillies, and mobile homes. You know what I'm saying? But as you can see, it's a massive amount of land back there. Man, they wasn't finna let that be undeveloped. Man, once you knew they threw up River City, man, Ocean Way was done. You know what I'm talking about? You finna get a different breed of people live out there. Now you got middle and upper middle class white folks that live out there. And you got a whole gang of upper and middle class black folks that live out there. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, Jacksonville is 30% black. You know what I'm saying? This city damn near 50-50. As far as minorities is concerned, when you factor in Hispanics. You know what I'm talking about? Because we 30% of the population of Jacksonville, Florida. So if you say it's 1 million people here and you just take 30%, I mean, it's 300,000 black folks here. And every nigga here ain't poor. You know what I'm talking about? We're poor enough to where they got to live on Moncrief and live out. Most people who live out east, they don't live out east because they poor. They live out east because their family been there for 30, 40 years and they not finna leave. Most of the people, black folks that live in Paxton, it's not because they poor, they not finna leave. House be paid for. They done had a couple generations live there. They not leaving. You know what I'm saying? If they do leave, they still keep that house in the family and just live on another side of town. They're not finna sell their house. But I mean, a lot of people, they ain't from the South, so they don't know that. Because Southern people not giving up their house. Unless they have to. You know what I'm saying? Unless it get ugly, the taxes behind. They finna foreclose on the house. Or it's just so many problems with the house that I just do. Because I'm going to tell you something. A lot of people believe them wholesalers be getting black folks out them homes. Boy, them be white folks selling them houses and they sell them quick. Them white folks don't be wanting to keep running my house. Them white folks be like, I don't give a damn. I live in Buffalo and I'm not coming down here fooling with that. Give me 80,000 cash and you could take this home. Straight them down. He know what I'm talking about. There be white folks selling them houses, man. They be trying to keep their house, mainly because my granddaddy left me. It be the sentimental. See, it's different, right? For majority of people here, like, nigga, rent. See, it's gonna be different. See, he owned his home. He owned his home. Over time, you'll start to have an emotional attachment to that home. You're gonna look at that home differently than somebody who don't own it. So an investor gonna look at that home. This is a business opportunity. You're gonna look at that home and be like, my son was born here. I did this here. This birthday party was here. You remember that time? It's different. You know what I'm talking about? When somebody ain't got an emotional attachment to the property, they'll sell it in a heartbeat. That's it. I don't care about this house. I ain't live here. Shoot, I was with a dude. We were trashing the house out. Trashing it out for Obi. I don't think he was over. You came over there with us? I don't think you came over there with that. There was a house off of near Stanley House. Man, that man told me, he say, man, my brother got mad because I told him as soon as daddy died, I was selling this house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Because he was like, nah, he said he hated his daddy.
The double wide.
No, it was a house. It had the house. You know what I'm talking about? And then he had that doggone shed in the front. Remember, I think it was a big old fat white dude sitting in the house. He was the one, he was the brother who was living in the house and he was mad because they were selling it. You know what I'm talking about? But his brother said, man, he had horrible memories of that house and that he hated his daddy with a passion. But his daddy's objective was he wanted to leave the house for his sons. Now, the one son, he was a bum. So, he wanted to keep it. The other son was like, man, I don't give a damn about none of this stuff in here. Throw it all away because I'm throwing the house away. Because somebody had bought the house and was moving in the house to fix it up. They were going to live in it while they fixed it up. It needed some fixing too. That big fat nasty bastard was living foul in there. That man said, no, but this is the thing. This man looked us in the face and told us this. Like, I'm getting rid of this house. I hate my daddy. I have bad memories in this house. I'm not keeping this house. Come on, man. Where you at?
Verse 12.
Verse 12 or what?
2 Samuel 15.
Come on with it.
And Absalom sent for Ahithophel the Gilonite, David's counselor from his city, from Gilo, while he offered sacrifices. And conspiracy was strong for the people.
What was strong?
The conspiracy.
The who?
Conspiracy.
Tell him what conspiracy means.
It's sure conspiracy, treason, alliance, confederacy.
Unlawful alliance. Come over here to Isaiah 8, man. Give me 8 and 8. What you say, son?
And he shall pass through Yehuda. He shall overflow and go over. He shall reach to the neck, and the stretching out of his wings shall fill the breadth of your land. O Emmanuel, associate yourselves, O you people, and you shall be broken in pieces. Give ear, all you afar countries, gird yourselves, you shall be broken in pieces. Gird yourselves, you shall be broken in pieces. Take counsel together, and it shall come to nothing. Speak the word, it shall not stand, for Elohim is with us. For Yahuwah spake thus to me with a strong hand, and instructed me that I should not walk in the way of this people, saying, say you not a confederacy,
a conspiracy.
To all whom this people shall say a confederacy, neither fear you their fear, nor be afraid.
Paul, that man said don't walk in that unlawful alliance they involved in. Now we know from Daniel 11:31, he gonna make intelligence with those who forsake the covenant. Now, I want to talk about a few pieces of treason that we can see in this book. Y'all know about a few pieces of treason? Let's look at 1 Kings 16, and let's look at some treason. Because we got a while to work with Absalom. It's a lot of information to go through Absalom. We ain't getting it all today. Here you go, Joanne. I know what you want. Let's see. 16 and 15. We talking about Zimri. Y'all know who Zimri is? He was a wicked bastard. I believe so. He was a king of Yasharal. Come on with it. 1 Kings 16 and 15. Listen to him.
In the 27th year of Asa, king of Yehuda, did Zimri reign 7 days in Tirzah, and the people encamped against Gibbethon, which to the Philistines. And the people encamped at her say, Zimri hath conspired, and have also slain the king. Wherefore all Yasharal made Omri, the captain of the host, king over Yasharal that day in the camp.
And Omri went up from where?
Gibbethon and all Yasharal with him, and they besieged Tirzah. And it came to pass when Zimri saw that the city was taken, that he went into the palace of the king's house and burnt the king's house over him with fire and died. For his sins which he sinned, and doing evil in the sight of Yahuwah, and walking in the way of Jeroboam, and in his sin which he did to make Yasharal to sin.
Come on back over here. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, that's
verse
good.
you want?
Huh?
No, I was saying you wanted that next verse.
No. But come over here, man. So start at verse 5 so you can see what he did. Make it 3.
Behold, I will take away the posterity of Baasha and the posterity of his house, and will make your house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat.
Him that die of Baasha,
in the city shall the dogs eat.
Him that die of it in his fields,
shall the fowls of the air eat.
Come on.
Now the rest of the acts of Baasha, which he did in his might, they not written in the book of Chronicles of the king of Yasharal.
Go ahead.
So Baasha slept with his fathers and was buried in Tirzah, and Elah his son reigned in his stead.
Come on.
And also by the hand of the prophet Jehu, the son of Hanani, came the word of Yahuwah against Baasha and against his house, even for all the evil that he did in the sight of Yahuwah, and provoking him to anger with the work of his hands, and being the house of Jeroboam, and because he killed him.
Go ahead.
In the 26th year of Asa, king of Yehuda, began Elah, the son of Baasha, to reign over Yasharal and Tirzah 2 years.
And his servant
Zimri, captain of half chariots,
conspired with who?
against him as he was in Tirzah, drinking himself drunk in the house of Arzah, steward of house in Tirzah.
See, that was Baasha for a mistake. He around there getting slizzard. Go ahead.
And Zimri went in and smote him and killed him in 27th year of Asa, king of Yehuda, and reigned in his stead.
It's in the same way. Now remember, right? You can't destroy the word of Yahuwah. So in order to conspire, remember the beast is going to conspire with all those that forsake the covenant of Yahuwah to kill the saints. That's what he gonna do. You see that there, man? Look at, man, everybody, and what do they all do this for? For power. Simply for power. That's what everybody want. They want a little bit of power. Let's look at 2 Kings chapter 12. Because that's what Absalom doing. He conspiring. Let's look at, man, 2 Kings 12:1, man.
In the 7th year of Jehu, Joash began to reign. In 40 years reigned he in Jerusalem, and his mother's name Zabiah of Beersheba. And Joash did right in the sight of Yahuwah all his days, wherein Jehoiada the priest instructed him.
Now, let's see. Now we're looking at, right? Joab was a just king, was he not?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're not going to go into it, but he repaired the temple. You know what I'm talking about? Get verse 11. He repairing the temple.
And they gave the money being told into the hands of them that did the work, that had the oversight of the house of Yahuwah, and they laid it out to the carpenters and builders that wrought upon the house of Yahuwah, and to masons and hewers of stone, and to buy timber and hewed stone to repair the breaches of the house of Yahuwah, and for all that was laid out for the house to repair.
Remember, we talked about this here, man. Repairing the breaches and repairing the gaps, get you closer to God. That's what the preacher's supposed to do. Go ahead.
Howbeit they were not made for the house of Yahuwah bowls of silver, snuffers, basins, trumpets, any vessels of gold or vessels of silver of the money brought into the house of Yahuwah. But they gave that to the workmen and repaired therewith the house of Yahuwah.
Because the labor is worthy of his hire. Continue.
Moreover, they reckoned not with the men into whose hands they delivered the money to be bestowed on workmen, for they dealt faithfully.
The trespass money.
And sin money was not brought into the house of Yahuwah.
It was the who's?
The priests.
Now, come on, man. But I thought that stuff, I thought the tithes and offerings was never money. Ain't that what they tell you? Read that again, man. Verse 16, man. That man say the sin offering and the trespass. Tell him what trespass mean, man.
Asham, that's guilt, offense, sin, guiltiness.
The sin money. Go ahead and tell him what the sin money is, man. God bless,
sin
brother.
It's Kate. That's sin. Guilt for sin, punishment for sin.
That cot money. That man, I don't even think people even know it's trespass money and sin money, man. But since they did know, get them Leviticus 5:15, man, and let them know so they can see it out of law. This ain't to get nobody money, just to show you niggas don't know what the hell they be talking about.
Say, if a soul commit a trespass and sin through ignorance and the Kadash things of Yahuwah, then he shall bring for his trespass unto Yahuwah a ram without blemish out of the flocks with the estimation of shekels by silver.
With the what?
Verse 15.
Leviticus 5:15. Listen to it. He said, if a soul commit a what?
A trespass.
And the sin through what?
Ignorance.
In the Kadash.
Things of Yahuwah.
Then he shall bring for his trespass.
Unto Yahuwah a ram without blemish.
With the estimation.
By shekels of silver.
By who?
Shekels of silver.
Not shekels of silver. After the shekel of what?
Of the sanctuary.
For what?
Trespass offering.
Now tell them what a doggone shekel is, man, just in case they don't understand. This your law now. You know what I'm talking about? But then they say no offerings was always fruits and vegetables. That's why I be telling you dudes don't know what they be talking about, man.
Shekel, that's the chief unit of weight or measure used as a commercial standard. Probably a weight.
Weight. You see what Quran say? Pay that fine.
Silver or gold is copper.
Silver, gold, or copper. Same way you go to Mr. Charlie and pay that fine. Yahuwah say pay that fine. And he say the priest got to keep that fine money. You know what I'm talking about? Tell him what an estimation is, man.
That's a rec. That's order, row, or estimate. Things that are set in order.
Set in order them shekels, man.
Evaluation.
Value that money that you owe me. You know what I'm talking about? Tell them what a trespass offering is.
Trespass is an unfaithful or treacherous act. Trespass.
That man said unfaithful or treacherous act. That's what you're paying for. Come on, read verse 16.
saying, he shall make amends for the harm that he have done in the Kadash thing, and shall add the 5th part thereto, and give it unto the priest.
Give it unto who?
To the priest.
That man say add a 5th more to it.
And the priest shall make an atonement for him with the ram of the trespass offering, and it shall be forgiven him.
See, the trespass offering or the ram, that go to the sacrifice. The money go to the priest. That's what it said, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, why is Kings telling you this if this ain't in your law? Come over here, Leviticus 7, man, just in case. Let somebody want another witness.
As the sin offering, so the trespass offering.
As the sin offering, so is the what?
Trespass offering.
As the sin offering, so is the what?
Trespass offering.
So that means the same thing you do with the trespass offering you did with the sin offering. With the trespass offering, you had to bring the shekel, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Estimate it and then add a 5th on top of it, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what you got to do with the sin offering. Go ahead, sir.
Say one law for them, the priest that make atonement therewith shall have.
And the priest
that offer any man's burnt offering, the priest shall have to himself the skin of the burnt offering which he have offered.
And all the meat offering
that is baken in the oven, all that is dressed in the frying pan and in the pan shall be the priest that offer it.
That's good, man. Read verse 16 to 2 Kings 12 one more time, just in case somebody missed it.
So the trespass money and sin money was not brought into the house of Yahuwah, it was the priest.
It said it wasn't brought into the house of Yahuwah, it was the priest. Brother Langford did mention, remember the gold of Ai and Jericho was kept for Yahuwah. Remember, he told him not to touch it. That was his, don't keep that for yourself. Verse 17.
Then Hazael, the king of Syria, went up and fought against Gath and took it. And Hazael set his face to go up to Jerusalem. And Joash, king of Yehuda, took all the hollow things that Jehoshaphat, Jehoram, and Ahaziah, his father's king of Yehuda, had dedicated, and his own hollow things and all the gold found in the treasures of the house of Yahuwah
and in the king's house,
and sent it to Hazael, king of Syria, and he went away from Jerusalem.
What happened?
And the rest of the acts of Joash and all that he did are not written in the book of Chronicles of the kings of Yehuda.
What happened?
And his servants arose and made a conspiracy.
And did what to Joash?
Slew Joash.
Look at him, boy. Every time you see somebody making a conspiracy, they're making a conspiracy to rise up and kill a man and take power. That's how these people roll out here, man. Come over here to 2 Kings 14 and 1.
In the second year of Joash, king of Joahaz, king of Yasharal, reigned Amaziah, son of Joash, king of Yehuda.
He was 25 years old
when he began to reign, and reigned 29 years in Jerusalem.
And his mother's name?
Jehoiadan of Jerusalem.
And he did
right in the sight of Yahuwah.
Yet not like David, his father.
He did according to all things as Joash, his father, did.
Howbeit,
the high places were not taken away.
Yet the people did what?
Sacrifice and burn incense on the high places.
And it came to pass as soon as the kingdom
was confirmed in his hand,
that he slew the servants
which had slain the king his father.
See, he went back and killed them people who did that to his daddy. The same way that Yahuwah gonna come through and kill the people who slay his servants through that conspiracy, through the peace. Come on with it, man.
But the sons of the murderers.
But the sons of the who?
Or the murderers.
But the sons of the who?
The murderers.
What he didn't do
he
to
slew
him.
Not.
Why?
According unto that which is written in the book of the law of Moses.
Where Yahuwah commanded.
Saying the father shall not be put to death for the children.
Though the children be put to death.
For the father.
But every man shall be put to death.
For his own
See,
sin.
that's where the big dummies come at and see, Yahusha, you can't die for another man's sins. See, you stupid. Because, see, you ain't had no problem with it using a bull and a goat for your sins, but you ain't got no understanding that, you damn fool. This man talking about if Stanley around here steal, then little Stanley can't be held accountable for what his daddy did. That's all that means, man. Dying for sins does not mean that removes accountability for what you've done. Dying for your sins meaning I'm going to give you a slate with this covenant that you broke. I'm going to show mercy and compassion to you when you don't deserve it. The same way if little Stanley killed 3 people, they not finna go get his daddy and kill him. He didn't do it. Every man got to give account for what he did. That's what people talk about, you responsible for what your kids did till they hit a certain age. No, you're not. You know why Eli was held responsible for his sons? Because you knew what they were doing and you didn't stop them. If Eli didn't know what his sons were doing, it wouldn't have been nothing on Eli about that. You're not responsible for what your children do. Just like your children ain't responsible for what you do. The Lord ain't gonna bring you up on the throne and be like, your son was a faggot, so I'm gonna hold you accountable for him being a faggot. No, your son just a faggot and your son going to hell. Now, if both of y'all are faggot, then both of y'all got a problem. That's right, Quran just told the truth now. When them 42 she-bears got them churn, they ain't go get the parents. They went and got the churn. Everybody accountable for what they do. You ain't accountable for what your parents do. You know what I'm talking about? You ain't accountable for that, and you ain't accountable for what your children do. You know how unjust Amaziah would have been if he would slid around there and killed them men's sons, and them men's sons ain't had nothing to do with that? What you killed them for? Now he the sinner. If he would have did it, he'd have been worthy of death at that point. But I also meant that back. You see how that come in with that revenge of blood? Yeah, see, you see how that came in real? You done seen it twice about that revenge in the blood, and you ain't have a problem with none of it. Because whoever sheds man blood, by man, must his blood be shed. We could go all day with conspiracies, but we ain't gonna keep going all day with these conspiracies, man. I mean,
they got to get there from you.
Let's come back to 2 Samuel 15. So let me tell you something. With them conspiracies, it's a whole look. When you get in there, when you go to talk about the Book of Kings and Chronicles, well, you're gonna see a lot of conspiracies. Shoot, you could call it one. You might as well. You know what I'm talking about? Got them people together. You might as well. They ain't use it in number 16, but shoot, that's what he did though. He ain't told no story about that, boy. That's exactly what they did though. They went and got a conspiracy like this here, man. He did just like Buddy and Belly. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I'm gonna drop a dime on this thing. You know what I'm saying? That's what they did though. Because at the end of the day, these people were committing these conspiracies to kill these men in order to reign in their place. Because they wanted to be king. You know what I'm talking about? They wanted to be king. Now, I meant to mention y'all this gentleman's name, man. Thofel. His name means, my brother is foolish. My brother is folly. This is who Absalom is listening to. A man whose name means, I'm a dummy. Ain't that something? I don't think I'd have been listening to a nigga whose name mean I'm a dummy. They became one. And they both got done. Where you at in 2 Samuel 15?
13.
2 Samuel 15 to 13. Read 12 again.
And Absalom sent for Ahithophel the Gilonite, David's counselor from his city, from Gilo, while he offered sacrifices. And the conspiracy was strong, for the people increased continually with Absalom.
So see, Absalom went and got him because he used to be David's counselor. Got down with Absalom. Come on, verse 13.
And there came a messenger to David saying, the hearts of the men of Yasharal are after Absalom.
David said unto all the servants
that were with him at Jerusalem, arise.
Let's slide.
For we shall not escape from Absalom.
Make speed to what?
To depart.
Lest he do what?
Overtake us suddenly.
And do what?
Bring evil upon us.
And smite the city with what?
The edge of the sword.
Y'all know what this sound like? Let me show you. Go ahead. That's exactly right. Matthew 24 and 15. That man said you better hit it. That's that same thing in Revelation 12. He sent a flood after the woman because the woman hit it. All that super tough guy talk. Well, you better get on your horse, nigga. Better get on your Tom and Jerry's and get your stupid behind from around now. You can be tough all you want. You're going to be tough and dead. 24 and 15. Matthew.
Say, when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing in the Kadash place, whoso read, let him understand.
For all intents and purposes, though Absalom is not a literal idol, that's the abomination of desolation.
Then
you know what I'm talking about? You better get on with it.
Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains.
Let them do what?
Flee into the mountains.
I bet then one of these niggas will call David a coward for fleeing. That man was a stone cold killer. Stone cold killer. You know what's funny that people talk trash about people and they ain't got the heart to do a quarter of the things that men did. This man was a stone cold killer. And when I say killer, not a killer like a murderer. Now he said it's a warrior. It's a mighty man. It's a valiant man. This man a killer. Man, that man kill. I'm talking about, man, you know how much of a killer you got to be to kill niggas and then come back with their penis meat? That's what he did. And it's the thing. He's not knowing it. Saul's sending you out there to do it because he know you're going to get killed. I know you ain't going to be able to pull this off. That boy say, man, bring me back 200 skins, man. Bring that back to me. Ain't I'm talking about not at all. And he was a boy. He was a boy.
I don't need no sword. Give me a sling and some stone.
No, he said he took the sling and the stone because he said, I ain't proved this stuff over here. I ain't worthy enough to put on this armor and swing this sword. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't proved myself to do that yet. See, most of us ain't got that mind either. Everybody like, I'm a preacher. You ain't even proved yourself yet. You got to prove yourself before you do all that. Let me put this out, man. I bust this, but see, this is the difference. He said, look here, man. He said, man, Yahuwah delivered me from the mouth of a lion and a paw of a bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine dying tonight. See, his strength of his violency didn't come from his toughness. It came from his faith in Yahuwah. That's what he pushed that big, ugly bastard down with. You know what I'm talking about? You niggas ain't got none of that. You think you tough because you got some AKs and some clips. Man, them bullets go to flying, boy. These niggas gonna tuck their wee and go to peeing on themselves. You know why? Because you're gonna be relying on yourself and not Yahuwah. And this the thing. If you don't win, you're gonna be mad at Yahuwah. Instead of looking at the text where he told you wasn't gonna win. Not because you weak, not because you this, because that's not the plan, my G. That's not the plan. Remember, man, if my kingdom was of this world, my servants would fight. See, that's why they didn't do no fighting. Because his kingdom not of this world. I'm not fighting to take their stuff. Because I don't want it. But when I slide back around here, I'm fighting because I'm finna take dominion of everything. Not just America, not just the UK, everything. It's bigger than it. Nah, shoot, like here. He say, man, look here, man. He can't even hit him with that one. Now we can't even say it's bigger than Nino Brown. That man coming through like this here, man. If a nickel bag gets sold in the park, I want in. You know what I'm talking about? Or like what was on the original Scarface, he said, I want him dead. I want him dead. I want his house burnt to the ground. I want to go to the house in the middle of the night. I want to piss on his head. That's how the Lord feels. You know what I'm talking about? He wants you to burn it down. That man coming to burn it down. You understand what I'm telling you? And he want to be able to come there in the middle of the night and piss on everybody. You know what I'm talking about? And of course, when you looking, because you looking crazy, but to urinate on a man's body or his grave is a sign of disrespect. You know what I'm saying? It's a couple young kids in Jacksonville who've been killed because they videotaped themselves pissing on one of their enemies' graves. You know what I'm talking about? And the boy caught him and killed him. That's why that boy who died on I-95 about a month or so ago, that's why he got killed. Because they shot a music video in a cemetery, and then they went to the grave of one of Young and Ace's homeboys who died in that shooting that he was involved in, and then Jit died not too long after that. Matter of fact, 2 people died because of that. You know what I'm saying? Because we can look at it and say that's stupid. But for some people, man, don't disrespect my... See, you got to understand something, man, and some people don't understand that because they don't live by any type of code or honor. You know what I'm talking about? But it's some things you do not do. And if you do them, you have to know that there's consequences and repercussions that come along with that. Especially the life that they live in. You can't be dissing a nigga dead homeboy like that and you don't think them boy not finna come back and let you join him. Yeah, say, man, niggas don't even peep that he killed double what Saul asked him to do. Definitely did. He brought back more wee meat than Saul he mad for. And you know what sad? Saul was looking sad when that nigga dropped all that wee meat in the bag. Here you go. Bah! And you know why Michael, do you know why he asked him to go get all that wee meat? No. That was his intent. That was his intent. That was for to marry his daughter. He said, you ain't got to give me no dowry with no money. You ain't got to give me no dowry with no cattle. I want Philistine penis meat for dowry.
That's
what he asked him to do. He said he asked him to bring him back 4 skins. I want the skin. I want the top. I want the top part. I want the covering. That boy said wee meat is insane, but that's what he asked him for. He asked that man to go bring me back some 4 skins. Hold on, man. I don't think y'all think I'm making that up though.
Bring back like 10,000.
No, it's just a purpose for the story. Everybody may not be familiar with that story. Come over here to 1 Samuel 18. All that to get my daughter. 1 Samuel 18 to 22.
That's the one that said she despised him, didn't he?
Hold on, let me make sure where we're going to start at. I don't want to start with it. Now, of course, he was mad that Jonathan and David had love for each other. Yeah, verse 22 is, hold on, make it 15. 1 Samuel 18 to 15.
Say, wherefore, when Saul saw that he behaved himself very wisely, he was afraid of him. But all Yasharal and Yehuda loved David because he went out and came in before them. And Saul
Definitely,
said,
bro.
And Saul said to David, behold, my elder daughter, Merab, her will I give you to wife. Only be you valiant for me and fight Yahuwah's battles. For Saul said, let not my hand be upon him, but let the hands of the Philistines.
Let the hands of the Philistines. He did to him what David ended up doing to Uriah the Hittite. Let me not kill him. Let me absolve myself for the murder by having somebody else do it. Yes. Oh, that's going to cost you 22 and a half push-ups. Come on with it.
And David said unto Saul, who am I that my life or my father's family in Yasharal that I should be son-in-law to the king?
Mm-hmm.
But it came to pass at the time when Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to David, that she was given unto Adriel, the Maholathite, to wife.
And then Michael.
Saul's daughter loved David.
Man, you were Saul's daughter?
And they told Saul, and the thing pleased him.
Hold on, man. You Saul's people? Tell her what Michael mean right there, man.
He was like,
She already knows.
So guess what? I guess you did get a girl's name.
She was like, my name is in the Bible.
Your daddy said that? He told you that when you were little? D-nut. Now, your name was in the Bible. There was a girl's name in the Bible. Or did you just read that one day? And then you just told yourself that's what you did.
Every time I tell like people that my name is Michael, I get some people like, oh, that's a biblical name, right? Yeah.
They know that's a godly name. Why you ain't godly? You out here dancing on tables? That's okay. Hold on, Mother Sharona said if Yahushua was going to actually fight physically, or would he use his word? I've been confused about that. He gonna slay him with the word of his mouth, but the Malachim gonna be doing most of the killing. You know what I'm saying? He coming with 10,000 of his saints. You know what I'm saying? Trained servants, ready to war, trained for battle. And he gonna be dotted up in their blood. See, I meant to mention that we read that a little bit last night. Eventually, we'll get back to it. You know what I'm talking about? You know, Isaiah 63 tell you about it, how he covered in these people's blood, because he tread in the winepress of the wrath of the Almighty Elohim. And with a sword and fire, he gonna plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahuwah shall be many, because it's gonna be dead bodies from one end of the earth to the other. Like these people gonna physically be slaughtered. That's unfortunate. Prayerfully, according to Yahuwah's multitude of mercies, that none of us have to deal with that. But them niggas dying a lot. Go ahead.
Michal, Saul's daughter, loved David, and they told Saul, and the thing pleased him. And Saul said, I will give him her, that she may be a snare to him.
See that there? The woman was to be a trap. That's why I keep telling you, man, when you sit back in the text, woman always a trap to take a man down. Always. You know what I'm talking about? You hear someone, and it's never been in the history of the world that a man was a trap to take a woman down. Take her down from what? Go ahead.
And that the hand of the Philistines may be against him. Wherefore Saul said to David, you shall this day be my son-in-law and in the twain. And Saul commanded his servants, saying, commune with David secretly and say, behold, the king have delight in you, and all his servants love you.
That man's sour for what he doing now.
Now therefore be the king's son-in-law. And Saul's servants spake those words in the ears of David. And David said, seem it right to you, a light, to be the king's son-in-law, seeing I am poor man and lightly esteemed?
David said, I ain't even worthy for what you asking me.
And the servants of Saul told him, saying, on this manner spake David. And Saul said, thus shall you say to David,
the king desired not any dowry,
but 100 foreskins of the Philistines.
I need 100 pieces of wee meat
to be avenged of the king's enemies. But Saul thought to make David fall by the hand of the Philistines.
And when his servants
told David these words, it pleased David well to be the king's son-in-law, and the days were not expired.
Wherefore David arose
and went he and his men and slew the Philistines 200.
He said, I'll bring you back 200 of them.
And David brought their foreskins, and they gave them full tale to the king, that he might be the king's son-in-law.
That man said, you wanted 100, here go 2.
And Saul gave him Michal, his daughter, to wife. And Saul saw and knew that Yahuwah was with David, and that Michal, Saul's daughter, loved him. Saul was yet the more afraid of David, and Saul became David's enemy.
Tell him what foreskin is, man. Tell him the word. Spell it out for me. You know how gangster that is, man? The man say, I want 100 foreskins. Here come 2.
That's Orlah. That's foreskin or uncircumcised. Got Ayin, Rosh, Lamad, and Hay.
See how he come? We say Ayin, Rosh, and Hay.
Lamad,
and
Hay.
And Hay. Say that for me one more time.
That's Orlah, foreskin or uncircumcised.
No, I'm talking about the words. The letters, I should say.
Ayin, Rosh, Lamad, and Hay.
Ayin, Rosh, Lamad, and Hay. So if you got a Lamad, you got a chief shepherd or some instruction. You know what I'm talking about? So you see the chief has instructed. You know what I'm talking about? With the Rosh and the Lamad. Then you said the Ayin and the Hay. The chief has instructed you to see the man with raised arm. Because see, when you get circumcised with the circumcision made without hands, then you can see God. You know what I'm talking about? See, when he came back with them 200 foreskins, Saul seen God was with this man. You know what I'm talking about? See, it's a little bigger than that because it was for a dowry. See, he paid this here to get a dowry for he who was like Elohim. That's who he sought to marry. Because who does he want to marry? The woman who was like Elohim. See, I was looking at this thing, man. Somebody had something to tell me, man. You know the umbrella thing that be having, you know, man, woman, child, and all this stuff, you know. A lot of women were like, the umbrella should be side by side. Then somebody said, well, where the Proverbs 31 woman fit in at? I say, right where this one at. I say, but the difference what you don't realize with the Proverbs 30, because this is what the thing, right? We didn't talk about it before. The Proverbs 31 woman wasn't a woman who just was working for the purpose of fulfilling her ambitions and goals. She was working to fulfill the destiny of her family because it was more important to build her husband's house than for her own personal ambitions and goals. You know what I'm talking about? This is what I'm telling this lady. I say, but this is the part you missed that most people miss because they think being the Proverbs 31 woman, if you would, is all the stuff that is said that she did. When really what made her that was she feared Yahuwah. You know what I'm talking about? Because that's what it concluded with. She that fear Yahuwah, she shall be praised. So this woman had a reverence and respect for Yahuwah. So because she had a level of reverence and respect for Yahuwah, then that spilled out into everything that she did. So when you turn around and you look at Rebecca, she had a reverence and fear for Yahuwah. When you pay attention to the things that she did and the things that she said, what she's mentioned, you know what I'm talking about? That's what you'll see when you see the just and upright. Peace, man. That's what you'll see when you see the just and upright women. In the text, they had a reverence and respect for Yahuwah. See, you know, in these days and times, man, you hear a lot of people say, well, if the men act like this, the women will be like this. If how somebody behaves is going to dictate how you are as a woman, then you're not a good woman. Because that should be standard in you, period. If you be like, I'll be a man based off how a woman behaves, then you got a problem as a man. You know what I'm talking about? Because that shouldn't have anything to do with it. You know what I'm saying? That's really justification for just being lazy as a woman. Because you know what I'm talking about? Because you hear that all the time. Someone say, if you're a masculine man, the women to be submissive. Why I got to go through all that? You know what I'm talking about? You shouldn't have to. Because guess what? You think Yahuwah going to have to do something to make you submit to him? I just seen a lady say, only in America do men talk about submitting. I said, I wouldn't know. I don't live in another country. I don't know what they talk about. You know what I'm talking about? I'm just being honest. I don't know. She was like, other men in other cultures, they just do it, and that's just what it is. But I say there's a difference between those men and women in them other cultures because they've been raised that way for a multitude of generations to where it don't have to be said. When you live in a society where that's not the case, then yeah, you're going to have that problem. If the men ain't raised to be men and the women ain't raised to be women and nobody fear God, and this ain't really a patriarchal society, so to speak, to where it's set up that where the men can call the shots and moderate the women, then yeah, you're not going to have that. Not here. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, in most societies outside of America, the women can't go outside like women out here go outside. You know what I'm talking about? They can't go outside like that. No, that's not happening. In most societies outside of America, the women can't be loose with their loins like they loose with their loins over here. You know what I'm saying? They can't do that because the men still have the authority and power to regulate that. You don't have no authority and power to regulate that over here. So you shouldn't even be concerned with it or trying. You know what I'm talking about? Because you're gonna fall on deaf ears. You know what I'm saying? It's just gonna fall on deaf ears. Just like somebody asked me earlier, like, is it a sin if a woman go work outside the house and she got kids? It's probably niggas who telling women that, but that's not in the book.
That's good.
I'm for real. I was literally asked that, and I wouldn't doubt it that it's niggas out here to be asked this question. That means somebody's telling somebody that. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm like, in the book, you don't see nobody that was a stay-at-home mom. That thing didn't even exist. But we didn't talk about it before. The advent of a stay-at-home mom is an American concept. Because if you go look at them villages in Africa, are them women staying at home? They out there doing all manner of work, and guess where the kids at? Right there with them. You know what I'm talking about? And when I say all manner of work, I ain't talking about necessarily clocking in on somebody's job. You know what I'm talking about? They might be out there selling their wares or selling food they done, you know what I'm talking about, planet, but they just wasn't at the house. The stay-at-home mom thing, that's an American thing. Because do you really see that in anywhere else in the world? Do you even hear other nationalities of people even discuss that being done? Man, you know where a lot of people got their first seeing a stay-at-home mom from? Caucasian sitcoms. You know what I'm saying? The Leave It to Beaver type stuff. That's an American concept. You got to remember, your forefathers were agricultural people or shepherds. So that means people was out. That means the man and the woman was out there in the field. You think he was just in the field by himself? What's she staying in the house to do?
You can see the aspect that she was in the field.
Yeah.
What she was doing with molasses.
Getting that wheat.
Yeah.
She was out there getting that wheat. That's just what it was. Because that's how they lived. You know what I'm saying? So this was like I said, we didn't talk about this before. The concept of an educational system like we got here is not even 250 years old. That wasn't done all across the world where you sent your kids to school. Your kids was out there working whatever vocation their daddy was working in. So if the daddy was a shepherd, them kids, because guess what? What was Jesse? And what all his sons did? Shepherds. Even Saul's daddy was a shepherd, because that's how Saul met Samuel, because his cattle got away. They were going to look for it. You know what I'm talking about? That's what you did. You did whatever your daddy did. That's why Yahushua was a carpenter, because that's what Joseph was. You know what I'm talking about? Joseph was a carpenter. You teach your trade and vocation to your son continue it. It ain't this stuff now in modern times. I have a dream, daddy. I want to be such and such. Nobody give a damn about all that. You know what I'm saying? That's American stuff, man.
Even here in this country, not too long ago, that was why school started after Labor Day, because the kids had to help their parents.
Yeah, with the summer crops.
Before the winter came.
Yeah, you got to get out here and work. We need you to chop down these grapes. We need you to bring in this corn. Because guess what? Up north, they still don't go to school till they're only in the South. If niggas go to school in August. Because everywhere else, them niggas go to school after Labor Day. Y'all niggas been in school about a good whole month by the time them niggas go to school. But you also get out before them. Yeah, we just live in a different time. And what we end up doing is that we end up thinking how we live in this modern time is how people live throughout millenniums. And it's just not. Just is what it is. It's not mean that it's a bad thing or a wrong thing. It's just that we live differently. Because I'm here to tell you, Sarah wasn't no stay-at-home mom. She was doing whatever Abraham had her to do. He said they go to school in August in California too. Now I can see that on the West Coast. I know definitely in New York City and all of that, they go after Labor Day. You know what I'm talking about? Now I just know somebody who a school teacher up there, and that nigga definitely said they don't go to school till September. You know you was up there skipping class. So you ain't never skipped class. We know you did. You skipped class to go to nigga house and drink some amaretto. Go hang out with who?
Manhattan.
Hanging out there with them grown kids, being fast. I think you was out there being grown. You trying to clean it up.
I was a good kid.
Nobody on this earth believe that.
I was.
You don't
I
even.
could call my mom right now.
Oh yeah, that's really gonna prove it.
She'll tell you.
How she know? She wasn't with you 24/7. Was she with you when you got drunk? When you was smoking them doobies?
I was good until like after I graduated from high school. But I was a good kid.
Define that. What do you mean by that?
I was welcome. Only got in trouble for a little bit of things.
What you call a little bit of things?
Getting a B or something like that.
This nigga in here lying.
For that.
This nigga in here lying. Why she in here lying, ma? Muffin say you need to stop lying.
I'm
How you good and you skipping school? Your parents ain't know.
Well, my parents wasn't with me. My parents were here, but I finished school.
Oh, so you were just doing what you want. So you had niggas in your people's house while they were gone.
No, when I was in New York, finishing high school, I lived with my grandma, but my parents were here.
Oh, so you were getting over on Granny.
Not really.
See, that nigga hit that like Johnny hit that. Shoo. That's how we know you lying.
I was pretty good. No, I was pretty good.
See how I keep changing?
I was pretty good now.
Pretty good. Lord have mercy. Come on, man. Where you at, sir?
1 Samuel 18.
We'll come back to 2
27.
Samuel 15, man. We finna get ready to get out of here. I at least want to finish chapter 15. Y'all willing, we could come back to 16 on Wednesday. Little girl.
In verse 15.
2 Samuel 15 and 15. You acting up.
And the king's servant said unto the king, Behold, your servants, whatsoever my lord the king shall appoint.
The king went forth.
And all his household after him.
And the king left what?
10 women.
How many women?
10 women.
How many women?
10 women.
What were they?
Concubines to keep the house.
Paul, man, tell him what a concubine is, man. A concubine is a paramour. I told you about a concubine. And we probably not going to finish this chapter because I told you I want to talk to you about concubines.
That's Pelegesh. That's a concubine, a paramour.
So let's get some understanding again about what a concubine is. How many concubines was it?
10.
Why does that mean something that you see a concubine and it was 10 of them?
That'd be representative of 10 horns.
No, that representative of the house of Yasharal. If you take David out of place, that would be 11. How many sons did Jacob actually have? He had 11. He didn't have 12 sons. He had 11. You know what I'm talking about? Now, a concubine is a woman who lives with a man but a lower status than his wife or wives. That is what a concubine is by definition. What does a concubine do? She cohabitates with a man to whom she is not legally married, especially one regarded as socially or sexually subservient or a mistress. What does it mean to be a concubine? Again, this is a woman who cohabits with a man without being married or one having recognized social status in a household below that of a wife. You know, scripturally, it's a woman who's acquired by a man as a secondary wife. Her purpose was to provide a male heir in the case of a barren wife and to provide more children in general to enhance the family's workforce, wealth, and to satisfy the man's sexual desires. You know what I'm talking about? Also, most concubines were, some concubines were taken through war. You know what I'm talking about? But that's another conversation. Yeah, spoils of war. That's another conversation for another day. You know what I'm saying? Now, I did send y'all that stuff about a male concubine only because that was extremely disturbing. And I ain't just saying that just to say it was. Yeah, certain societies, they had male concubines. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, that's wild. You know what I'm talking about? But hold on. So, of course, this is an interpersonal and sexual relationship between a person and the person which the couple does not want or cannot enter into a full marriage. Concubinage and marriage are often regarded as similar, but mutually exclusive. We don't care about what they did in China. We don't care about what they did in ancient Rome. So this is what they have in here as forth as with the word. She was a marital companion in an inferior status to a wife. Among the Israelites, men commonly acknowledged their concubines, and such women enjoyed the same rights in the house as a legitimate wife. Remember, that woman in Judges 19 was a concubine. You don't recall that they say that? He said his concubine fled. It said that she was a concubine. Get that for me, man. Judges 19:1, I believe. See, the term concubine does not necessarily refer to women after the first wife. A man could have many wives and concubines. Any children born to the concubine were considered to be children of the wife. Also, what his name is, Jephthah, mama was a concubine. That's why they say he can't inherit with us. His mama's a harlot because his mama was a concubine. Go ahead.
And it came to pass in those days when no king in Yasharal that there came was a certain Levite sojourning on the side of the Mount Ephraim who took to him a concubine out of Bethlehem, Yehuda, and his concubine played the whore against him, and went away from him unto her father's house.
I didn't want you to hear that. That woman was a concubine. But he still went after her. The reason why this is important, give me Isaiah 50, man, and 1. You got it? Isaiah 50 and 1.
Thus saith Yahuwah, where is the bill of your mother's divorcement, whom I have put away? Or which of my creditors to whom I have sold you?
You know this. So at this point, once he do that, you in concubine status for the most part, because you were still kind of dealing with Yahuwah, but not with the full benefits of a wife, because you was a concubine. But let me finish with what we got here. No, we don't need all that. They talking about what's the name? It says in the Levitical rules of sexual relations, the Hebrew word that's commonly translated as wife is distinct from the Hebrew word that means concubine. However, on the least of one other occasion, the term is referred to a woman who is not a wife, specifically the handmaiden of Jacob's wife. Sexual intercourse between a man of a wife of a different man was forbidden and punishable by death for both persons involved. So that's what a lot of people don't realize. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. He said that's why Bob Marley's wife raised all his children by other women and took custody of them. And more than likely, because she was she probably was the main wife. And then with the kids, because he had a lot of kids, they weren't all from the same woman. You know what I'm talking about? So when he died, she probably took all his concubines' wives and took them as her own. You know what I'm talking about? See, that's a different type of woman, because I don't think nobody in 2020, ain't too many women can do that. You know what I'm saying? Because they considered it, because you have to understand there's a difference. This is not to condone the activity. We're just talking about the reality of it when this activity is being participated in. So he mentioned Bob Marley, so we'll just use him. That's a great man. Usually with a man of that level of status and wealth, he usually has a main wife, and then he got concubines. These are women who he treat like a wife, but he's not married to these women. Now, probably the difference would say with Bob Marley is them women probably weren't living with him. See, if you had concubines like you see with David had wives, and then it said he's 10 concubines. Now, we're going to get to it that Absalom is going to lay with these concubines in the sight of all of Yasharal, which, of course, will be reflective of the beast wanting to lay with Yasharal in front of everybody, because it didn't say that he was going to make intelligence with everybody. He was going to make intelligence with those who forsook the Kadash covenant. So the Kadash covenant only pertains to who? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob's seed. So he going after them first. So he has to do that in the open and lay with these concubines who he left to keep house. You know what I'm talking about? That's what we're looking at that. But we just wanted to give you a historical context of what a concubine is, what it meant, why he even got some. You know what I'm talking about? Because most people don't realize what a concubine is. When you're dealing with a man of that level, yeah, you're not going to be the only woman he's messing with, because he want to have a multitude of children. Like I said, Gideon had 70 kids from 18 different women. So if you do the math, that's a shade under 4 kids a woman. But this is so his lineage keep going. Because I'm going to put it to you this way. Ain't no one woman having 70 kids. That much we know. That's not happening. You know what I'm talking about? That's not even a reasonable expectation in reality, that a woman could spit out 70 children. She'll be dead before she get a chance to do that. You know what I'm talking about? You don't even have that many years of fertility to push out 70 children, unless you have an in vitro fertilization and you're pushing out 4 or 5 at a time. You know what I'm talking about? So, and again, this is not something that all men have. When you look at the text and you see about men who had multiple wives and concubines, it was only a select few. You know what I'm talking about? Because you got Hagar being a concubine, but after they got rid of Hagar, it wasn't nobody but Sarah and Abraham. Isaac didn't have any concubines at all. You know what I'm talking about? Jacob had them concubines. He didn't want them. He just wanted Rachel. You know what I'm saying? They were like, he had 4 wives. No, he really had 2. But that just came along with it. Why? Because a wife was barren. So Rachel not having kids, so this is where the handmaidens come in at. You know what I'm talking about? And then because of the competition, Leah give him his handmaids too. You know what I'm talking about? But see, all the kids that he had from Leah's handmaids, those were Leah kids. all the kids he had from Rachel's handmaids, those would have been considered to be Rachel's kids because a handmaid don't have no rights. That's why I say that you sometimes be like, yeah, it ain't like this here. Women had handmaidens. No, every Hebrew woman didn't have a handmaid. Because we don't even think we even realize what a handmaid is. Well, that woman is a concubine or a slave. And she is subject to the sexual desires of your husband in his house if he so choose. You know what I'm talking about? See, we don't never think about that because, again, it goes back to what we were talking about last night, romanticizing things. You know what I'm saying? Having an idea that really this woman here just to help take the load off of you. No, that's not what she there for. She really there for that man. And she can help you out along the way, but she really there for him. Because he taking care of her. You're not taking care of her. Now, does that mean a man has to lay with his handmaid? No, it doesn't. Because Abraham never laid with Hagar until Sarah gave it to him. That didn't run across his mind. That's not something he had in his mind to do. Come on, let me finish this here. Let me see what we got. Yeah, say what? King Amalek was the son of Gideon and his concubine. You know, of course, you know, Solomon had 300 concubines and 700 wives. That's a lot of women, boy.
How you remember all his name?
You don't? You just be like, number 9. Now listen, right? In some contexts, the institution of concubinage diverged from a free quasi-marital cohabitation. To the extent that it was forbidden to be a free woman to be involved in concubinage, an institution was reserved only to slaves. This type of concubinage was practiced in the patriarchal cultures throughout history. Many societies automatically freed the concubine after she had a child. According to one study, this was the case in about 1/3 of the slaveholding societies, the most prominent being case of the Muslim world. Among societies that did not legally require the manumission of concubines, it was usually done away. In slave-owning societies, most concubines were slaves, but not all. The feature of concubinage that made it attractive to certain men was that the concubine was dependent on the man. She could be sold or punished at the master's will. Slaves taken as concubines would have had a higher level of material comfort than the slaves used in agricultural mining. Now, of course, you know, according to our law, you just couldn't take no woman who you took as a slave after you done laid with her and do her like that. You know what I'm talking about? Get Exodus 21 for the people who don't know. Let's see where we at. Exodus 21:7.
And if a man shall sell his daughter to be a maidservant, she shall not go out as the
You heard what he said?
do.
If a man sell his daughter as a what?
To be a maidservant.
Look here, man. He's selling his daughter to be a concubine. Go ahead.
If she please not her master who have betrothed her to himself, then shall he let her be redeemed, sell her into a strange nation. He shall have no power, seeing he have dealt deceitfully with her.
And if he have betrothed her unto
his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters.
And if he take him another,
her food, her raiment, her duty of marriage shall he not diminish.
And if he do not these 3 under her,
then shall she go out free without money.
You can't do that woman like that. You know what I'm talking about? Our law don't permit you to do no woman like that who you done took in this particular fashion. You know what I'm talking about? Now, what other societies did was between them and Yahuwah. You know what I'm talking about? But you couldn't do that. Let's come back to 2 Samuel 15. Ruthie. 2 Samuel 15:16, one more time.
And the king went forth and all his household after him, and the king left 10 concubines to keep the house.
Tell him what keep the house means.
To keep his shamar, that's to keep the guard, to observe.
House should be bought.
Mm-hmm.
We want him to guard the house. Continue.
And the king went forth and all the people after him and tarried in a place that was far off.
And his servants
passed on beside him, and all the Kerethites and all the Pelethites and all the Gittites, 600 men which came after him from Gath, passed on before the king.
Then said the king,
to Ittai the Gittite, wherefore go you also with us? Return unto your place and abide with the king.
Go ahead.
For you a stranger and also an exile.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you came yesterday, should I this day make you go up and down with us? Seeing I go where I may, return you and take back your brethren
Mercy and truth.
with you.
And Ittai answered,
The king and said,
as Yahuwah,
live, and my master the king lives.
surely.
And what place my lord the king shall be, whether in death or life, even there also will your servant be.
Whether in what?
In death or life.
Go to John 12, man. You see what the Lord said, what he said, man. John 12 and 22. Jeremiah James Bird. What you got going on over there?
And Philip can't come and tell Andrew. And again, Andrew and Philip told Yahushua. Yahushua answered them, saying, the hour is come that the Son of Man should be esteemed. Truly, truly, I say unto you, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die,
It a what?
it abide alone.
But if it die,
It bring forth much
that's
fruit.
why a lot of people ain't bringing forth no fruit, because you still alive. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. Come on.
He that love his life shall lose it.
He that what?
He that love his life shall lose it.
What else?
He that hate his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal.
What else?
If any man serve me, let him follow me.
If any man do what?
Serve me, let him follow
Ain't
me.
that's what Ittai the Gittite doing?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
And where I am, there shall also my servant be.
And where I am, there also shall be what?
My servant be.
And then he just say, man, whether in death or life, even there also will be your what?
Servant.
And he said, I'm the resurrection and the life. Whosoever believes in me shall never taste death. You believe that? So you got to have the mind and tie to get tight. Now, wherever the king go, that's where I'm going to go. Whether in death or life, I'm where you at. A lot of people, yeah, Joe. Come on. Come on back to Sam. The elephant? Yep. What noise the elephant make?
Verse 22.
2 Samuel 15 and 22, it make poo.
And David said to Ittai, go and pass over. And Ittai the Gittite passed over, and all his men and all the little ones that were with him. And all the country wept with a loud voice, and all the people passed over. The king also himself passed over the brook Kidron, and all the people passed over toward the way of the wilderness. And lo, Zadok also and all the Levites with him, bearing the ark of the covenant of Elohim. And they set down the ark of Elohim, and Abiathar went up until all the people had done passing out of the city.
Mm-hmm.
And the king said unto Zadok, carry back the ark of the Elohim into the city. If I shall find favor in the eyes of Yahuwah, he will bring me again and show me it and his habitation.
He said, notice right this here, man. You find favor with Yahuwah, he'll bring you back to see it again. Remember we read in Isaiah 33? That your eyes might behold the king in the city. Come on.
But if he thus say, I have no delight in you, behold, let him do to me as seemed good unto him.
The king
Also said also unto Zadok the priest, you a seer, return unto the city in Shalom, and your two sons with you, Ahimaaz your son, and Jonathan the son of Abiathar. See, I will tarry in the plain of the wilderness until there come word from you to certify me.
Tell him what certified means, man.
Nagad, to be conspicuous, to tell, to make known.
To make known, till you come and make the word known to me. Come on.
Zadok therefore and Abiathar carried the ark of Elohim again to Jerusalem, and they tarried there. David went up by the ascent of Olivet and wept as he went up and had his head covered. And he
You
went
know, a lot of
barefoot.
people read that and say David prayed with his head covered. That's not what it said. Go ahead.
And all the people with him covered every man his head, and they went up weeping as they went up.
Mm-hmm.
And told David, saying,
Why you know they got their head covered? Because they feel shame. They sad. They feel like they did something wrong with what Absalom got going on, and they hadn't done anything. Come on.
and told David, saying, Ahithophel among the conspirators with Absalom.
David said, "Oh, Yahuwah,
I pray you, turn the counsel of Ahithophel into foolishness.
and it came to pass
That David was come to the top where he worshipped Elohim. Behold, Hushai, the Archite, came to meet him with his coat rent and earth upon his head.
unto whom David said,
If you pass on with me, then you shall be a burden unto me. But if you return to the city and say unto Absalom, I will be your servant, O king, your father's servant hitherto, so I now also your servant. Then may you do for me defeat the counsel of Ahithophel.
and not there with you."
Zadok and Abiathar the priests, therefore shall be, what things soever you shall hear out of the king's house, you shall tell to Zadok and Abiathar the priests.
Go ahead.
Behold, there with them their two sons, Ahimaaz Zadok's and Jonathan Abiathar's, and by them you shall send unto me everything that you can hear. So Hushai, David's friend, came into the city, and Absalom
So
came
you know
into
they want to
Jerusalem.
send some. They want to send some contrary. You know what I'm saying? Play a little game with little Ophel.
Send me some spies.
Send me some spies to run the game. But hallelujah for Yahushua. We're going to start right there because we're not going to start chapter 16. We're going to come back to chapter 16, y'all willing, on Wednesday. We're just going to run that down. But what we were running down was the aspect of how Absalom is, yet is not, yet is, because he was rated as king, even though he wasn't. He was the king's son, but he wasn't the king, but yet he is the king. You know what I'm talking about? The same way the beast is ruling as God, yet is not God, yet is seen as God. You know what I'm talking about? In regards that Yahushua is God, which is and was God, and is to come as God. You know what I'm talking about? And of course, that's dealing with what we just, and we only talking about it because of what's in Ecclesiastes 3 and 15. You know what I'm saying? And of course, you know, this particular matter don't get talked about a lot as far as what it means, which is and which was and which is to come. You know what I'm saying? So we just looking at the contrast of individuals who fit that. Amen, bro. So love you too, man. Hold it down. So, you know, just weigh and consider. But you see how Absalom was moving and the things that he did. You got to conspire with people who hate God. You know what I'm talking about? You got to find somebody to give you counsel. Because what you're going to see eventually is that old little Ahithophel is similar to the false prophet. And we're going to run it down so how you can see through the text clearly that he's a similitude of the false prophet. You know what I'm talking about? It's forth as being Absalom's counselor. You know what I'm talking about? And then, of course, there's going to be an instance where the story switch. And Absalom going to be representative of Yahushua. You know what I'm talking about? Because one thing a lot of people get it confused. They don't have to be a just man to fulfill his testimony. They just got to fulfill his testimony. It's not about the person. It's about the testimony. You know what I'm talking about? That's why it don't even matter if it's a woman, because Rebecca fulfilled his testimony. When she said, let that reproach be on me, son. Doesn't matter that it's a woman. See, this is what people get the game twisted. They think it's because it's a woman, she can't do the work of God. She can do the work of God. She just can't be no preacher. It's many things that she can do. It's just unfortunately everybody wants to be the preacher because in this particular society, I can't speak for nowhere else. The preacher is a celebrity. The preacher has a certain level of fame, notoriety, money, maybe women, depending on how they moving and grooving. That's what people have the draw to. Or they feel like it'll get them a certain modicum of respect and esteem that they ain't never got in life. You know what I'm saying? Or some people want to do it just because they just have a desire that they want to serve Yahuwah and manifest it. No, everybody's different. And then some people didn't have a desire to do it at all. You know what I'm talking about? Like how Amos said, what? He said, what? I ain't no prophet, son. He said, I was a herdsman and a gatherer of sycamore fruit. I didn't want to do this. Or basically, I don't, because this is something too that don't get discussed a lot. A lot of times, if your father was a prophet, then Yahuwah would put that on you also, on his sons. You know what I'm talking about? Because you see a lot of prophets, they had sons and their sons were prophets. You know what I'm talking about? So he would just go ahead and keep that in your lineage. Because you can't teach somebody to be no prophet. You know what I'm talking about? So it went like that. You know, that's why he said that. I'm not a prophet, son. My daddy wasn't no prophet. Yahuwah chose Amos to be a prophet. You know what I'm talking about? So, but you know, that's a whole nother conversation. But I bless y'all the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Love y'all. Malia, stop sitting like a boy. You ain't no man. You sitting like a nigga on the basketball bench. Yes. We'll sit down.
We got cookies.
I'm not concerned.
Get all that and put it in the trash.
But again, I bless y'all the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Yahuwah willing, man, we'll be back at it on Wednesday, man. Y'all willing, we'll be in 2 Samuel 16. And we're going to keep it rolling. And until that time. All right, Clubhouse, man, we gone.